I'm still getting used to the very fact that we have a theme song. Like that is a lot of fun for me. Just to put that out there. Everyone, welcome to the Newbcast podcast for the 5th of November. My name is Miss Michelle G, and joined by that's a new face. That's not.
Wait, who transformed Heepoh?
I don't.
Who polymorphed Heepoh?
No, look, I am Heepoh. It's just I drank something, had a wild weekend, reconstructive, faces and everything. No, I'm Heepoh.
What is it? Polyjuice, right? That's what it is.
It was something. I don't know what it was. Definitely was. It was something. All right,
guys. This week we are joined by our very special guest, Mr. TGrumm. Mr. Grumm, welcome to the show. Glad to have you. Before we get started, could we just get a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
No,
please.
Sure. I am TGrumm. You can call me Grumm. I am a content creator on the internets. I am a just live content creator currently on Twitch, twitch.tv/TGrumm. I also have a podcast. As you can see, this is the most important thing right down here underneath my name, Dorkside of the Ring, or the Dorkside of the Ring podcast. It's available on all major podcasting platforms, including your preferred one, where Miss Michelle Jean is actually going to be a guest on this Monday's episode. So synergy. But no, it's a wrestling podcast that's not about wrestling, but kind of is about wrestling, but you don't need to know about wrestling to enjoy it. I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. And, it was a lot of fun to record that episode with you. It's almost like we worked on that timing to have this show right around the corner. Yeah. It's almost like we did that. Well,
what a strange coincidence.
I know. I suppose with that introduction, Grumm, what are some of the stuff that you've been playing? What are some games you've been focusing and playing on recently out your way?
I have been playing a lot of Satisfactory.
Ooh.
A lot of Satisfactory. A lot of a game called Fade into Silence. It is it's a crafting survival game that also is kind of like, it is kind of Dark Souls like.
Okay.
It is interesting. Yeah, those are probably the two big games I've been playing. I do a lot of Pokemon Nuzlocke as well, so I'll just do any random ones.
So, okay, you mentioned Dark Souls and crafting. I feel like that is incredibly abusive.
Opposite?
Yeah, that too. I was going to say abusive, but
so the concept of Fade into Silence is a post-apocalyptic world where humanity has done something that brought upon a plague onto the world, but this plague is like a demonic plague, and you are a guy who has like certain amounts of life. Some agreement has been made. You'll find out more of the story as you go along, but you got to stay warm. Like it's like bitter cold. The guy can control the weather. There's this giant blob that goes around in the sky that like rains down stuff, and it like corrupts wood and meat and whatnot. It's very it's like if you took a whole bunch of genres and you just pickpocketed it. Like, it's got like, corrupted materials that you can refine. You can get people and bring them to your village or your refuge, and you can build out your refuge so that you can have the ability to fortify against waves and hordes. And also when you die, you get to keep stuff. You don't necessarily die, but you only have a limited amount of lives per like run.
Okay.
But at the end of, if you die, you get things and abilities that you can take into the next run that make it easier for you, or get you further along, so you can get further along into the game. So it's interesting.
Is that almost like a roguelite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roguelike.
Okay, so crafting, Dark Souls, roguelite.
Mm-hmm.
That is a little bit of all of the things.
Yes, yeah. I was on a kick. I like I like survival crafting games, so I was on a kick looking through like the Steam page,
Mm-hmm.
and that was on there, and I'm like, all right, oh, it's on sale, I'll buy it. And I played it probably like an hour or two in like 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and then never picked it up again. And then I saw it was still installed, and I'm like, all right, let me just play this. I was looking for something new, and that's what I went into. And I'm like, oh wow, this is actually interesting. It's definitely if you're not in that Venn diagram of like really enjoying crafting games or really enjoying like a roguelike game, you're not going to enjoy this. I don't think you're going to enjoy this game, and I think that's kind of why it kind of didn't take off as much, because it's two niches that shouldn't agree with each other, but they kind of do, but also kind of don't, but kind of do. Like there's some parts where I'm like, all right, well, how the hell am I supposed to beat this like this kind of mob boss,
Mhm.
like, or character? Like I shouldn't be dealing with this guy and not be able to tank some of these hits. But I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but this
Mhm.
guy is just so beefy and I don't have the proper equipment. Where, like, do I just not go any farther into this direction, because this is the only direction I can go in right now?
Huh.
So,
It-
yeah.
That I'm not gonna lie, I'm very intrigued by the whole thing of it, because it's oddly enough that the crafting survival is actually our host that usually sits in your box usually ends up playing those type of games too. So
My box now.
It's been taken over.
Heepoh, careful. I think
Yeah,
someone's going for your seat there.
Pry it from my dead cold hands. I will still be alive, but my hands will be dead and cold.
Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna lie, one of the things I think I miss being able to do as much as a lot of the improv like conversation with you, because god dang, you are hilarious sometimes.
Thank you. I don't try.
You don't try. So you said that you mentioned Pokemon as well. Could you what was it that you were playing with that too, Pokemon? Because you said you played Pokemon as well.
Oh yeah, doing Nuzlocks. So I do Pokemon Nuzlocks. It's like one of my, other than role play, in terms of content, like most of my content is hardcore Nuzlocke runs, because I'm a masochistic and I do not care for my individual. I don't foreign bomb with my Pokemon. I view them only as tools. I am the antagonist to Gold and Silver. I'm successful though, but it takes a little bit, because it's a lot. I've been doing like games where I have it, like the later gens that I haven't really played. By the time like 4 or 5, I never played fully, so I don't know them as well as like 1, 2, 3, or even the most recent generation. Like it's just like, all right, like sure, yeah, this is how the mechanics work. Like this, yeah, why wouldn't they work like this? And it's like, oh no, they changed this so that this happens, and now you're screwed because you didn't actually understand how the mechanics worked. I'm like, so it's a fun way for me to get into the games that I missed. As when I was younger, because I was like, oh, I'm not buying a Nintendo DS because I don't have time for it. So, or I was too old. I was too old to ask for it for like Christmas, but too young to be able to actually afford it. Responsibly put money away to buy it. Whereas like now it's like, well, I want this thing, so if I put $50 away in a month and a half, I'll be able to afford it.
It's funny. I actually relate to that quite a bit with Pokemon, because I never got into it early on. My first one was Diamond and Pearl, and then the one after that was X and Y.
So you even skipped the
yeah,
generation.
I did. I skipped a couple, but yeah, I've seen some of that content too. It's really entertaining. I think just because it's also not just a standard Pokemon game, you put a good spin on it. So
well, yeah, and I've seen people do Nuzlocks a lot of different ways depending on like what sort of challenges that they're going through. So like, could you just kind of review for people like what a like standard Nuzlocke run is and what makes it so interesting for somebody who's already pretty comfortable with the mechanics of Pokemon?
Yeah, I can do that. So a standard Nuzlocke rules, there's like 3 or 4 major rules. One is when your Pokemon faints, when they're no longer, then they have 0 hit points, they're done. You can't use them anymore. Effectively, if they faint, they die. You put them in a box. So you can be like, oh, look at all the trophy cases of all my dead Pokemon that helped me along the way. Or you can just straight up release them so you're not tempted to be like, reset, like, give me this, and whatnot. One of the other ones that is a staple is you get one catch per route. So say, you get we'll use the very notable Gen 1 Pallet Town. You receive your starter. Say you're like me and you pick the best one, Squirtle. You get your Pokeballs, you go into Route 1, and you find a Pidgey. You catch a Pidgey. Well, depending on your variation of the rule, either that's the only Pidgey you get for the rest of the game, or, which I do, which is called it's a dupe species clause, which is basically once you get a Pokemon from a certain evolution line, that evolution line is dead, you can just keep re-rolling your encounters, which provides a little bit more strategy because you're like, oh, I really want this Pokemon in this area, but it's very rare. But if I go to this other area and I get the very rare Pokemon from there, then they now become more likely for me to get. So it's a very you can kind of strategize and make it like very simple and easy. Be like, all right, hey, cool, I can just save this route. I can save Viridian Forest because I can go get a Caterpie and a Weedle somewhere else and then come back and get a Pikachu without having to really worry about like that. Or some people do it where it's always the first one, so you could end up with 7 Pidgeys and only needing 6 of them. The other one that a lot of people will do is you have to nickname your Pokemon. So you have to give them nicknames. It's one of those like flavor rules. Like you don't have to, but it's nice, especially if you're doing it for content. You can do a theme where you get your chat involved. You're like, hey guys, the theme today, for this run, we're doing desserts. So hey, give me your best desserts, and you're like, oh, like turtle soup, and it's like that's not a. Do you have turtle soup for dessert? I mean, it's
Some
a turtle
people,
Pokemon. Can I curse on this? Are we?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I should have asked before, but also it makes for a great like on like live like question of like, oh, I could curse at. Fuck yeah, let's do this. But yes, like I don't get it. All right, fuck it. Like it's a turtle soup. That I guess you have turtle soup for dessert one time, so I guess it counts and constitutes as a dessert.
I guess, yeah. Out of all that explanation, the one thing I really took an issue to is Squirtle. Really?
Yeah, Squirtle's the best. I'm not listening to this. I saw both your faces. I saw them both. You both are. I can guarantee you, both of you are Charmander fans.
Actually, Bulbasaur here.
Oh, all right. Wow.
We got a good split. We got a good split.
Okay. Well, this is that I will. Well, you know what? I will. We're cultural. We understand culture.
Wow.
Like, yeah, no, I like the fire lizard. That's really cool. That has fire on his.
I'll have you know that every generation I've ever played, I always start with the fire Pokemon every single time.
That's lame. Strategically though, that is very smart because fire types are very rare to find. I think fire types are actually like within the Pokedex are like. Outside of like dragon types are one of the rarest types to find. So strategically in a Nuzlocke, it always pays off to take the fire starter because you have the fire type right away.
Yep.
And some like in Gen 4, like there's like 5 of them, and you kind of need one for the Elite Four because there's like a bug and there's a steel type that that's immune to ground type. So you should probably have them. It can be very strategic and smart, but Squirtle, water types are the way to go nearly all the time.
I mean, if you need hydration, I don't know. I guess I'm a bit of a pyromaniac. What can I say?
Yeah, Bulbasaur is cute. Venusaur, not so much, but that's why I never evolved my Bulbasaur.
Exactly.
Because it kept dying, so I just kept putting.
Another person of culture. Yes.
Yes.
I feel like I'm being gained up on here all of a sudden. I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, for your Charmander take, you should. So
you know what? I will give you this. I am glad that you and so many people are fans of Charmander because you are increasing the value of that Charizard card that I have from the trading card game. So
You know what?
Cool.
You're
We all
very
win.
welcome for that. I'm just gonna put that out there. Yeah.
Well then.
Yeah,
Just
for the record, you
profiting
can
off
swear.
of-
I will always beat myself, but you can go ahead and swear. I don't care.
Yeah, I was like sitting there. I'm like, should I have gotten like a thing where like pots and pans every time I curse? I just went clank. I'm more of a practical effect guy. You know, I'm a big fan of Jurassic Park. You know, the original. You know,
Yeah.
great cinema. You know, these days with all the CGI and green screen and motion capture stuff. No, I'm kidding. I love like Marvel nonsense. I love it.
Well, and I'll tell you, most of the sound effects are probably still done the same way.
Yeah.
That's
So-
yeah, exactly. Oh goodness. Did we cover all the games that you've been playing recently then? Perhaps, maybe?
We didn't talk about Satisfactory much, but that's pretty self-explanatory. It's an addicting game. It's crack.
It's crack, yeah.
And
There's a reason I've been staying away from it.
I think I have at least 3 different saves that have over 150 hours into it.
Oh wow!
Like,
Okay.
yeah,
I feel like if I started playing that, and I have yet to play Satisfactory for more than idly looking, I would become the antagonist in Wonder Woman 84.
I haven't seen it yet.
Like, sure, what you have is great, but you could have more.
Oh yeah, no, that's 100% what happens. Where you're just like, yeah, you know what? I'm producing everything I need. I don't need anything more.
But I want it.
But if I just drive 75 miles that way, I can set up a chain of just new material stuff and just bring it here and have this entire planet covered in some people will be like, yeah, I have this area that produces this area that produces, and I'm just like, I just have one place, and then I just have everything come here via either conveyor belts or trucks, or trains. I have a train that has carries nuclear stuff around so that it spreads radiation around the planet.
That sounds fun.
Very human-like.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just described exactly why I've not installed it and played it myself, because I feel like that is that is exactly where I would end up. Is I just have to do this, and we'll do that much, and then it's always I could just do this and add on to it every time.
It is absolutely it is definitely one of those games that if you don't have if you have like an attention disorder of any kind, you're not medicated for it, you will absolutely just find yourself going like, yeah, let me go make this thing, and then you go to grab the thing that you need to make it, and then you're like, oh, I need to make more of this thing first so that I can do this. So then you're just doing that, and then it's 7 hours later, 4 a.m, your eyes are dry. Ben Stein is like, hey, look, do you want some eye drops? And you're like, not now, Ben Stein. I gotta finish making. I need to continue making this copper, and I need to stare until my eyes bleed. Your partner, or your child is asking if you're coming, if you're alive, and you're like, no, not yet, but I will be.
You're
500 copper ore, and I will be.
I think you described a little bit of my Power Wash Simulator problems. God. I'll talk about that later.
Right.
Oh goodness. Yeah. I think every single person I've ever encountered, I've always enjoyed it, but that has been a consistent. I think some of our mutual friends have that problem too, where they just off they go, a random direction. I suppose with that then, Grumm, welcome to the show. Glad to have you, and looking forward to more of the conversation later on in. I suppose that does mean that we have to circle around to you, Dizzy D. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I mean, you don't have to. You pleasantly choose to, which I appreciate.
Like, I have a choice here. Do I have a choice? I don't have a choice here. I can just be like, yeah, that guy over there with the shaved head.
As a podcast host, absolutely could just steamroll everybody on. I find myself accidentally doing it. It's like in post, I'll be like listening back, and I'm like, boy, I am talking way too much, like in this episode. I'm like, they left.
I mean, rather too much than too little, I would say.
True, this is true. Dead air is bad air.
Exactly. Yeah.
Most definitely. So what have I been playing? A few different things.
Go ahead.
So I've been watching a friend play Resident Evil Village and have come to the incredible conclusion that I actually do not play horror games, not because I find them boring, but because I actually don't like the jump scares. And it's a lot better when I'm not the person who is playing the game. It's such a weird way to enjoy it.
Understandable. I completely understand why you would say that. It's not always fun to get those jump scares.
Nah.
So you've been vicariously enjoying Resident Evil Village, but not diving into it. Well, if you know about the scares now, would you be able to go back and play it knowing about it?
I've actually been thinking right along that same line, and maybe I have to admit that I'm a little bit of a backseat gamer where I'm like, oh, but I see that one item over there. You gotta get it. But it would give me the chance to be able to enjoy that myself and see how absolutely terrible it actually is, and realize how unskilled I am at, survival in general.
Well, one thing Resident Evil, though, I mean, that's kind of expected. It's the game.
That's true, but perfectionist over here. I've got to not die. That's the rule that I've just made up.
You are a glutton for punishment. Okay, all right.
But the game is absolutely wonderful. Now I understand all of the excitement that was going on with Lady Dimitrescu.
Yes.
And I am a little ashamed that I found out about her so late in the game, because I really just, maybe that's next year's Halloween costume. I don't know. I think that'd be pretty fantastic.
Well, I think there was quite a few of those costumes this year. I mean, I know that the trend was on TikTok for a while there too.
Oh, you kids and your TikToks. I'm not on the TikToks, but I need to get on there.
No, I'm with you, Diz. I'm not on TikTok. I don't need to be. I'm too old. 29, too old. Too old to be on TikTok. Keeping up with the trends. Nope. No, thank you.
All I hear is too old to start the training, and I don't know why I hear Yoda, but that's what I hear. You're never too old to actually just to take in some content, though, and there's some good stuff on there.
Oh, there's totally good stuff. I get sent good stuff all the time from there, and it's just, I have not seen Lady D. I've seen a lot of Squidgame. I've seen a lot of drag, which was interesting and cool.
Yeah.
Because you get that effect where someone moves their hand over and then all of a sudden they have a whole bunch of makeup on and you're like, oh, you can do that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the best stuff just ends up on my Twitter. So that's how I enjoy the good stuff from TikTok.
That's fair, I suppose. I think it's just the way the algorithm works, because I've ended up on Twitch Talk. And so I see some crossover there because of that. So, and yes, there's absolutely a Twitch Talk. There's so many streamers that end up in my feed. So,
I feel like it's beneficial if you're a career content creator to be on TikTok, because it's literally the perfect algorithm for being discovered. Is you can just end up tomorrow with I'll be I've heard stories and I've seen it in action of watching somebody scroll their For You page of yeah, no, I'm in the mood. You know what I'm really in the mood for? And then they're scrolling, and then they go, this exact thing is what I wanted to watch right now. And they knew, and I'm terrified. They knew, they were in my brain. It's like the Instagram ad, thing where you're yeah, I was thinking to myself, I could really use toilet paper. Oh my God, a 75 pack of toilet paper. I'm gonna go right now and get that.
Oh my gosh.
True though, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's absolutely the most random things. I'm trying to think what it was last time where I saw a product and I was like, I idly talked about this with someone 3 days ago, and now you're suddenly coming up with it. It was probably I don't know.
I purposely do that.
Cleaning product.
I purposely do that now. Just randomly make sure the phone's nearby and just talk about, Bowie knives and how I really need a Bowie knife, because you never know when you actually need a Bowie knife.
Or a marimba.
Big titty goth girlfriend.
Well, that could always show up too.
So, Resident Evil Village, I highly recommend it.
I love it.
See, we're all thinking it right there. Great segue back to the original point of yeah.
Oh goodness.
Although the daughters and all of the detail there, like if you're gonna choose goth, like maybe not that goth. That's just I don't know. That didn't do enough. But other than that, I've been playing a lot of Storybook Brawl.
I've seen that. I've seen some of your streams with that too.
And I find myself in this interesting spot now where I kind of want to try hard with it.
Why not?
And why not?
Yeah.
Because you can fail. I've always been kind of weird with ranking games, and like I think especially when you start getting like a numbered rank, it's very, very intimidating sometimes to go in and be like, okay, I'm going to be playing with 7 other people.
Hold on, Mr. Platinum. If I recall correctly, you do just fine in ladders.
No. I wasn't the platinum. I was a gold.
Where you go?
And there wasn't a number there. I started silver in StarCraft. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I recall a platinum, but okay.
Back when we lived together. Back in my day.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure because I remember getting stomped every fucking time. But that's a whole nother matter. I
look. All I could do well was Marines Marauders, but you know what? I did it well.
Hey, one tricking is a viable way to live.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
It's the hedgehog concept. Mm-hmm. Businesses do that all the time.
Yeah. That thing works. Do it again.
Running at the speed of sound. Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless it's a cannon rush, in which case, like, you're just really frustrating everyone. You can stop.
Yes. Look, we can go off on a StarCraft tangent pretty easily. Let's avoid that because that's a rabbit hole if there ever was one, especially with some of the other stuff going on.
But yeah, I mean, I think that there's a little bit of anxiety once you're like, oh, hey, there are only 6,000 people in the entire world who are playing this game better than I am right now. Oh boy, I don't know how good I'm actually doing on it. And it's interesting, like there's almost an anxiety to playing at that point. And I don't know if that's different for you guys, but
not too different for me. Like I remember Overwatch, I got really into it and I'm like, yeah, I really want to be top 500. Like fuck it, why, like who doesn't? Like it's fun. Me and my friends are pretty good at it. And like there's that stress of like the grind where you're like, all right, come on, I just need one day where I need one good day and I can get over this hump and I can be here, at the end of the week. And but then you're just like kind of, I feel like sometimes you might be, unless you're 100%, that's how you operate. Like I have so much fun being competitive. I hate losing, and I hate losing more than I like winning, but that, it's the price you pay. Like maybe, yeah, sure. But me, it's just like, I do enjoy being competitive, but like there is a point where it stops being fun. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go back to the world where I was like, yeah, I'm really good at this game. I don't need to prove it to anybody. I'm just good.
You know why I think that happens though? Is because at some point it changes from a game that you're playing for enjoyment to a task, and when it starts becoming a task, then it's work focused or work oriented. It's just not the same, And I think maybe that's just what it is, because having done, we were talking StarCraft Ladder was where I tried to rank up, and how I was garbage, but I still tried, right? Right, I still tried my Terran builds and tried to do what I could with that.
Do or do not. There is no try. That's
back, okay. I see what you did. Yep.
Yeah, you don't bring up Yoda, and it's in my brain. So
Yeah. Well, and if you're enjoying the process, then it isn't a task. Maybe that's the
fair.
other way to think about it. Like, are we re-gamifying our game because we've ungamified it?
well, like going back to the Nuzlocks, like I didn't like playing casual Pokemon isn't as much fun for me anymore. Like.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game that is mechanically made so that younger, video game players can enjoy it, get in. There's a low entry level and there's not a big learning curve. So, and sure, you can master the mechanics and make the optimal, like, my team's never going to faint thing, but, sometimes you want a little bit of a challenge and you're like, all right, cool. Like, let me just do no items in battle. Like, I can't heal in the middle of battle. So, I have to be smart about who takes damage. I have to be able to calculate, oh, wow, like that did, 14, a crit it does 28 and I'm at 31. Okay, I can live a crit. So I can stay in here and I can get another hit in or, something like that. But that's not everybody's cup of tea of like taking something and re-gamifying it and making it even harder on top of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. I think I find that a lot of folks that are older, because Pokemon is supposed to be touching on that. That's kind of like kids' first RPG or introduction to RPG, right? So that bar, like you said, is incredibly low. But when you get older and you start looking at things, there's other elements, right? Like one of the elements I do whenever I play is if I'm on a route and I'm trying to make it more difficult, I have to catch shiny before I go on to the next thing, unless it's mechanically impossible in that game.
Oh.
So that makes it a lot more interesting because it's like, I just need this freaking shiny, please, and keeping everything alive, and it just adds that extra layer to it. But it makes it more enjoyable because otherwise, it's just trying to breeze through the game. It just becomes a task, like you were kind of alluding to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and especially when you reiterate on a game that isn't changing its core concept at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to find a way to make it your own. If the developers aren't doing it for you, really.
Sure.
Yeah. I think a lot of like that. I think that might be the appeal of like watching. Like I like watching a lot of challenge YouTubers where they're like, oh, like can you beat Skyrim without or as this, or can you beat Skyrim without taking fall damage, or can you beat Skyrim without taking damage in general? Like a lot of those no hit challenge runs are a lot of fun to watch because it's like, wow, this person is like mastering the game. Like.
Yep.
But man, that does not seem like fun to get to. Like, if you could tell me tomorrow, if I play the game for 20 hours, after 20 hours I will be that good. Yeah, sure, I'll take that deal. But it's not 20 hours, and it's also not as easy as just playing the game and learning. Like, it's just you have to figure out. Okay, I have iframes for 0.3 seconds, so I have to time this hit perfectly here. Oh. This is the exact increment of stamina I need to kill it, and it's just like, it's very impressive. I think is the word I'm looking for. Like, wow, like this person has a knowledge this deep and vast into this thing that is on the surface just easy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and the skill that goes behind that too, because so often those mechanics, like you said, are time based, are action based, and.
I think that's what it's like for all those type of extra challenges, right? I mean, speedrunners face similar challenges in their playthroughs, wouldn't you? Especially asking you that, Dizza, since you watch the various speedrun celebrations.
Yeah, and am contemplating doing something speedrunny for the next charity event that I do.
Ooh,
we'll see.
Okay, I have to stay tuned for that. All right, so Storybook Brawl. Dizza, what else have you been playing?
So one thing that I am giving a try, and I'm this is a beautiful segue because I think this is an example of a company that's changed their development around and tried to make another game, but make it really unique in its own right, is the new Darkest Dungeon.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah.
So if you played the original Darkest Dungeon, what you experienced was you being in a city with people coming in and out all of the time, and your goal was to complete 6 chambers in the Darkest Dungeon, and drive most of the people who helped you get there insane if they didn't just die on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's really cool. It's turn-based. Every strategy, every action that you take has some sort of effect and meaning. And I think that core concept is kind of what Darkest Dungeon, or the developers for Darkest Dungeon, brought into the second game, while changing so much more about it. So instead of it being an adventure-based grab a team and go scenario, in this Darkest Dungeon, you spend a much longer time with your team.
Okay.
And things that happen between them are significantly more impacting because you have them for so much longer.
Okay.
They've also built a relationships model. So there are, based off of what's going on, if you're more stressed, you might get more upset with your friends. If you're less upset and they did something cool, hey, you're going to cheer them on and you'll build friendships, or you'll be completely demoralized and frustrate each other to death, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool. I haven't figured out kind of how to work around that system. And that's probably one of the most important pieces to success in that game, is to figure out how to manage everyone's relationships.
Oh, I can see where that'd be a huge hurdle to try to overcome as a newer mechanic in the game. Because I imagine that most of what was already there is still... or a lot of the mechanics from the first game carried over to the second game, right?
Yeah, so the main concept of the actions that you take and being able to make decisions as to like what's in your list of abilities, that's all right there. And on top of that, you have like you'll have character progression, so you'll be able to gain more abilities from the adventures that you take with your companions, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mechanics like bleeding, mechanics like the corpses, mechanics like disease and poisons, those all are still there. So the combat is familiar. And it's enough similarity while still feeling inherently different. When you choose your adventure, you're not choosing to go into a specific dungeon and crawl around a map.
Mm-hmm.
You're choosing a path, and you're going down kind of like in Slay the Spire, where you'll have certain options that you'll be able to route in and out and have limited information as to what's going on and advance on them.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, and that's an interesting concept to carry over from Slay the Spire, especially with the popularity of that one. So...
yeah, I think overall it's really interesting. It's a sort of game that I can definitely play in short bursts, but if things are going wrong and all of the compatriots are at each other's necks about whatever and being paranoid and all of that, it makes the game very difficult to play. Like, I don't really enjoy myself then, especially when everybody has something to say about each other in the middle of a combat.
Sounds like me at work.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you have a big group project at work and you have to get a bunch of people together, and things start out happy and we're gonna have a great time, we're gonna rock this project, we're gonna be number one in the company, and then the excuses start flowing.
Someone from the party becomes a piñata though in those type of situations. There's always one that you just want to make a piñata, or is that just me and my experiences?
No, that's pretty universal, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Universal.
Okay. Just making sure. Otherwise, I'd have some explaining to do. I'm glad to know I'm not alone in that. Okay.
But yeah, my favorite part is that when you get stressed out in this game, instead of having just negative quirks suddenly take place, you just get pissed off at everyone else and you lose all of your health.
Oh.
Just like when you have a crisis in real life.
Yeah.
No, that checks out. Makes sense.
Yeah, all your life force goes down, and you're very agitated at everybody, even if they, didn't do anything to deserve it. Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds really on the nose.
At this point, it sounds like Dark Souls 3 is just going to be a life simulator, and I look forward to it.
Darkest Dungeons 3 Life Simulator. Look, that, I could see that. Look, I think you just gave it's a marketing campaign. Is what you just did. Well done.
Oh, absolutely.
Not getting enough stress in life. The stress in your life isn't affecting your personal relationships enough. Play Darkest Dungeon 2.
Want to see other people suffer the way that you do?
Want somebody else to feel your pain?
Oh my god. Okay. See,
did you enjoy taking the legs off of ants as a child, and now you're an adult and you're upset you can't do that to actual other adults? Play Darkest Dungeon 2 because you can.
I think this is actually a legitimate argument for this game, and I'm kind of worried about how I feel about this.
That's just not wrong. Yeah.
That being said, worth your time. It's early access right now. I'm sure that they will be redeveloping and making things happen a little bit more, and probably making the people talk a little bit less to each other in the middle of your combat.
Mm-hmm.
Because that does get annoying, but like a minor annoyance like that versus like the overall concept of what they've got going on, I think like they're going to on release have a brilliant game.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I was a big fan of Darkest Dungeon 1.
I enjoyed Darkest Dungeon as well, so I'm going to be very curious about trying that out. Okay, so Storybook Brawl, Darkest Dungeon 2. Anything else, Dizza? And what else is in there?
I mean, some minor stuff. I mean, is there something that you're specifically pointing out that you've seen on my list? Okay.
No, I mean, this is just your spot. Be like, yeah, I was playing this blah game that's completely random and not my thing or whatever.
Oh, you know what? I have finally found a purpose for New World.
Did you?
When I have to be in a meeting or in a conversation with someone and I need something to do, instead of going ahead and getting my fidget spinner, I'm just playing New World in the background and chopping trees.
Solid.
I don't know. Yeah.
Most trees are solid, yes.
Okay, I have to ask this. I think I don't even know if I posted this on the roundtable, but have you been witness or experienced any of the issues or the hacks that exist in New World?
So I've heard of a couple of challenges, and I can't speak to this with article examples at the moment, but I know that they are out there. Some stuff has been completely overblown out of proportion. Things like, hey, luck is broken. The more that people have researched like how luck works, it has much more to do with not knowing what the mechanic is supposed to function as versus like, oh, hey, this material is erroneous.
So the problems that I've heard of, one was recently patched out. I think one was patched out last week, which was because the game is controlled client side instead of server side, people could window their game, click on the bar for the window, and drag it around while they're being attacked, and it would make them invincible.
So that I knew that there was a little bit of detail because of client side. I didn't realize that was what they were doing precisely.
Yep.
But
yeah, if the source for that is Young Ye, he's sourced it and has video footage on one of his coverage news coverages of sorry, there's a random dog walking in the background and it's like, oh, doggo.
yes.
No, one of his coverage videos, and it shows a person that like showing the issue with a client side game and showing that this person's attacking, right? And their life bar starts going down. And then once they window the game and start moving the window around, they no longer are like, they don't lose health. They become invincible. They don't drop any further.
Wow.
That's
so weird.
That's such a weird bug, but also like I feel like just like that's one of those ones that like you have to be really looking to find. You're like, wait a second, hold on, let me just do this. It's definitely weird.
Yeah,
like, I know like Gene, like our mutual friend Rob had and Bio together were looking, like, seeking out just but like visual bugs almost.
Of
that
course,
don't
Rob would do
really-
that. Okay, yeah.
Like they were like, oh yeah, like you can have your like fishing rod out at all times. Like it doesn't change anything. It doesn't make anything like it doesn't affect combat. But it's like, yeah, no, we're trying to break this game. It's like, well, I mean, look, if you're actively going to look for it, but just to be like, yeah, no, you got to go out of the client window, this and that, and then all of a sudden you're invincible. Like that's just like that's very far down the list of how to break the game.
The other way to break the game, which was causing clients to crash completely, is that the chat window was susceptible to HTML code.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you can post HTML code and crash clients. People would put the HTML code for image sources and crash clients because the chat can't process the code. What the code is telling it to do.
Because it says, hey, there's code, let's do it.
Yep, causes client crashes. Last I heard, this was a few days ago, that had not been rectified yet. So
interesting.
Yeah. It's possible. I haven't, because some other conversations has come up, I have not been able to verify that the last few days. However, it's something that's been an issue, and how
I'm glad I didn't take the time to try to rickroll general chat.
I'm upset that you didn't now.
Right.
Well, no, because they'll patch this and they'll fix it, and then we'll finally have our GIFs in our chat, and that'll be great.
Yeah.
But until then, I mean, who likes a ruined rickroll, you know?
That's true.
So by me telling you about these things, I'm guessing that means that you have not encountered it.
I could have encountered the force out situation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my brain! I got a bunch of train tracks in my brain, and right now they're all jamming to "Never Gonna Give You Up." So.
Fair. That is fair.
You're no stranger to the song. That's for sure.
You know the rules.
So do I.
We've known each other not so long.
God damn it. Okay.
and yet I couldn't do this with anyone else.
I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Try to make you.
All right, guys.
Understand.
Well, everyone, thanks for being here. Thank you for watching the show. It's been great. And, everyone, I appreciate it. And just
you guys, no, I'm never giving up. Right? This is nonsense. I can't believe you guys let me down.
I didn't mean to turn around and desert you.
Can't believe this. This is
no, just.
Well, yeah. So what have you been playing, Mish? What's new?
So, recently.
That was a face.
Yeah. No. So recently, I stopped doing streams on Wednesday for now. And part of the reason I've been doing that is I have joined again a mutual friend of Grum's and mine, Mr. Boom Daba, for a game that he's been playing on Wednesday of Civilization 6.
Ooh.
So I've joined that game, and I realized, shit, I don't remember all the Civ mechanics, especially since I had 6 because of a charity package I paid for. But the last time I played Civ was Civ 5.
Didn't too long ago.
No, it's not too long ago. And with Civ 5, there were definitely mornings or nights where all of a sudden I hear birds chirping outside the window, and I start seeing daylight and go, oh, that was the night, because it's always, oh, I'll just do one more turn, and then something happens, like, shit, well, I'll just do another turn, and production comes up. Like, crap, I'll just do it. It's been that. I'm already into my on solo side. I'm already into my third game, and yeah, Kevin in chat said it best. One more turn. It's just one more turn.
Yeah, it always is just one more turn.
Yeah. Kevin's part of the wins the game as well. But so to try to relearn a lot of this stuff so I can actually play and have a chance against these guys, because one of the players in our Wednesday group is to be feared, and I wanted at least a chance for a minute instead of being completely stomped.
Play as Gandhi. There's your
that was the joke. When I
Violent
said
Gandhi.
The funny thing is when I was talking to Boom about it, and I was like, yeah, I'll join you. Why not? Can I play as Gandhi? All I got was he lolled and was like, no. Like, what?
If not Gandhi, Gilgamesh. In my experience,
Gilgamesh
most of
is
them
solid.
are very ruthless leaders that will betray you and go back on their word quite often at every opportunity, including when they go back on their word. They'll go back on going back on their word.
But isn't that going in the direction that you want then?
It is, but they don't have any. Basically, what I'm saying is Gilgamesh and Gandhi are hoes, and they will not stand. They don't have any ground. They don't stand on any ground. They just drop everything at the turn of a hat for, a couple extra warriors, and then they come back to you and they're like, "Hey, I know I declared war on you, but it was just prank,
I ended up as Cleopatra in that particular run for the Wednesday game. I'm pretty convinced the computer had no idea what it was doing, because there were like 75 turns in and still only had one city. So I had to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, how?
Most fortified city of all time.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I've done that. Since then I've played I forget the Korean leader's name. I just finished that. I won a diplomatic victory. I'm playing that solo. I'm currently playing as Teddy Roosevelt.
Wait. The current one? Like Kim Jong-un?
No.
It's South Korea.
It was South Korea.
South Korea.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, this seems very not you, Mish.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, that particular game, I did have a guy that continuously insulted me, and he had the uranium that I really, really wanted, and I might have gone and just completely demolished his coastline cities for the uranium.
sake of uranium.
Yeah.
Like I do a lot more for a lot less,
Yeah.
I deprive myself of quality living for 500 copper ore in Satisfactory. So, yeah.
Well, here's how I saw it. If I would have worked on more trading instead, but he was really insistent on insulting me, and I'm like, look, I really want this. You continue to insult me, and you've got 5 cities on the coast and no army and no navy. I've got a navy of multiple battleships and aircraft carriers with jets. We're gonna have a discussion.
We're gonna have a sit down talk.
Yep.
And you're going to listen and not talk.
Yep. So I did the very American thing where I went to liberate them, and I took the things I wanted.
You destabilized their economy and their government. Yes, that's smart.
Yep.
Well played.
Which is exactly why I picked Teddy Roosevelt for the current game I'm playing solo.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no. So I've been playing that in the last few weeks. I've put in 40 hours in that game, so because I'll work on other things. Because when you get into late game, you hit continue and it takes however long to do it, right? So I can work on what I'm working on. Like I was doing photo editing and stop for my turn, do my turn, and then go back to photo editing. So I was doing that. I don't know if I mentioned this on the last show or not, but the other game I've been playing a bit of, and it was a weird one to go back into, but I've been doing it, is Ace Combat 7.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You are an airplane.
Yeah. Well, look, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to fly around in those jets. They go vroom.
That's why I always go into Grand Theft Auto 5 sometimes when I really want to, and just steal a jet and just commit crimes against humanity with a flying jet. It's great.
So I have a story about that, and this story will make a lot more sense to you, Grum. But
I like stories that make sense to me.
it makes sense to you. So after playing about 30 hours of Ace Combat in 2 weeks, there was a help ticket that came into for the crew where they needed Army air support, and I happened to be the one that got the DM like, "Hey, can you help with this?" I'm like, it's almost like I've been playing Ace Combat for the last 80 or the last 30 hours. Yeah, I can help with this.
I can fly these planes. Yes.
Yeah. So the controls were a little weird for me to get because they're not. I mean, playing Ace Combat, I'm using this to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not for GTA. But after I figured out a way to make it more convenient, because I had forgotten spacebar can be a firing button. I was using mouse, and I was doing this weird like shuffle between things, and I was taking on Bailey and Andy. They both had damaged me, but as soon as I figured out the like, wait a minute, I can do it all from here and just use spacebar to fire. Yeah, no, I took them both out. I had damaged them both where they had to crash theirs before I had to bail out of my own plane. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Suck it, nerds.
Oh. My favorite maneuver is the maneuver I learned in Top Gun, and it's very applicable, and I absolutely use it.
The Heimlich?
No.
Yeah.
They use the
That's a good one to learn. Yes.
No, the one where they're being tailed, and Maverick like hits the brakes and pulls up and watch them fly right underneath, and then he's on their tail. That one?
That one, yeah.
I was more learning about beach volleyball. I feel like that was Top Gun is an underrated beach volleyball movie. A lot of bumping, setting, and spiking.
Wow, it's been a long time since I've watched Top Gun.
Honestly, there comes a point in my life where I keep forgetting that Top Gun's a movie about like the Air Force, and it's just like the only things I remember is beach volleyball, to the point where when I'm on a beach, very rarely, but if I'm on a beach, I'm like, all right, time to Tom Cruise it. Let's play some volleyball, like time to go. Let's do this.
Not a Val Kilmer way.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, yeah. So I've worked my way through the story a few times, and there's something about the way Namco Bandai was doing the games versus when it was just Namco back in the
early 2010s.
Yeah, because like Ace Combat 4 or 5 are probably like the pinnacle point of that franchise and the best, but 7 wasn't bad. It was enough for me when I started playing it again. I'm like, I could actually enjoy this much more than something like Assault Horizon, which was a disaster. So I've been playing that. I'm trying to think if there's a lot of new games I've been waiting to play. I know there's some talk about the next Jurassic Park Evolution, which is a thing. Kind of want to look at that when it comes out, but I haven't done that. I haven't done any of the other like strategy or sim games, and the only other thing I've been sucked into is that gosh darn role play that I do.
Drug that is. It's
seems dangerous.
Very.
If you need an outlet and need to get out of there, I mean, I can find a safe space for you where there's no internet. And no, I can't do that. Actually, I can't go without the internet. So
yeah.
It's a dangerous drug. Do you want to try it? Do you want it? It's very addicting. It makes you feel real good.
But
dopamine hit from making somebody laugh in character when they're not supposed to is second to none. I would say it's making somebody break and then mixing Molly and cocaine and injecting it straight into your eyeball is second. And it's not even close. It's not even close.
I mean, it started out okay, I guess. Maybe. No, I'm not so sure.
it's only a little dangerous, all right? You know, you just do a little, you dabble a little bit, you do a little bit, you know. And the next thing you know, you're spending the next you lose 3 hours of your life because you're pretending to be a toenail sniffing 18-year-old wannabe SoundCloud rapper. So,
Oh my god. You know, it's funny you mention it that way because lately I've been finding myself watching. It's season 3 of Critical Role just started, and I get that joy now that you're describing. And yes, it is absolutely a rush, and I can tell that entire group is feeling it. And I imagine it is just the same. Well, it's got to be even better being on the side of the creator of it.
It's to a point where there is a idea being, and I think Michelle, you've seen it, but basically a breaking gauntlet where you have to go kind of like akin to and this might go over a bunch of people's head, but Nick Cannon's Wildin' Out, where you have the spit take competition where somebody has to tell the joke and somebody's got water in their mouth and they have to sit there, and if you get them to spit, you get the point. Kind of like that idea where you just kind of make somebody break and they have to be on camera and you have to see their face, you know. So those of us who stream with a camera, you have to break. And I'm getting pretty good at not breaking. I've watched a lot of funny things lately and been stoic as hell, you know. It is unfortunately I've also been stoic when it comes to very sad things. It is a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword trying to do that for the sad ones. The funny.
I saw Reese's fall on the ground and I didn't react at all.
The stories about breaking, and of course it's usually always Rob, but our other mutuals are pretty good at it too. Actually, I just pulled up Steam while we were looking. I just realized there are 2 more games. I did the rest of the Power Wash Simulator maps that did come out.
That's right.
Yeah, I did that. It's funny because Squirm, you mentioned the ADHD thing of. Yeah, well, I'll do that where I'm start cleaning something and all of a sudden I hit this other spot and I'm like, oh wait, I can just do this and work through that. And then there have been certain viewers that come in and they get so mad at me because they're like, no, you started that, go back to that. Like, but this needed cleaning too. I'll get back to that. I'll be fine. No, go back.
It's still there. It's still there.
Yep. So yeah, that has happened a few times. I think the worst for that was the wooden treehouse. Go ahead, Grum.
I was gonna say that was me as a child when I had to go clean my room, and I would find a toy that I was or like hey, like spring cleaning, like do this stuff, and I'm like, oh okay, and I'm going through the closet, and I'm like, oh hey, here's this Buzz Lightyear fig. Oh hey, here's this fig. 5 hours later, hey, clean your room, and it's messier than it was supposed to be, and there's no toy, nothing's packed up, ready to to donate or anything. So, yeah, same relation to there.
Same thing there with Power Wash. But I got through all the maps, and they were pretty good. And then I got the luxury DLC for House Flipper, and I've been working through those jobs as well. And I think that this is probably the best DLC that they put out so far for House Flipper. Really long involved maps. They really encourage more theming in what you're doing there, so the houses that you put together look a little more organized. And there's voice acting. They've added voice acting, and it's decent voice acting. It's not garbage. It's decent voice acting. I was pleasantly surprised.
I always wondered how voice acting would be in that. And now I'm in the process of going to get the DLC.
Yeah, no, I heard it, and you can see it in my reaction when I start the first map, which is a yacht, and I was listening to this kid. I'm like, the heck? This is actually decent voice acting. I was not expecting this. I heard the kids start talking, and at first I'm like, oh no, they got a voice actor. And then he kept going and delivering his lines. I'm like, oh no, this is actually good. I can believe what's being said to me right now.
That's the important thing with voiceover work.
So yeah, those are the other ones I've been playing. if you're a simulation person that likes games like House Flipper and you've been considering the luxury DLC, I would say that one's been worth it. The jobs alone, each house I feel like takes 2 to 3 hours to complete. Like it's a good fair amount of time to get to the maps. They make sure that you get your money's worth out of it.
Well, they just got my money, so
there you go. There we go. And I think that's everything here for what I've been playing. So I think, gentlemen, what I'd like to do is encourage this moment for us all to take a break. So if you're watching live, we're going to step away, have a few minutes where we get up, move around, stretch, whatever we have to do. For those of you that are watching, give a chance for your eyes to look away from the monitors. It's good for you. And when we get back, we'll get into some gaming news and related host topics, as long as we stay on the rails, I guess.
What? There's no promise.
I know, right?
I'm guaranteeing it's not going to stay on the rails. I don't do well on rails.
We'll see how it goes. See you all after the break.
See, I think I can go both ways on that. I think like the Chicago dog as a unit has a required condiment on it, and the hot dog itself, no, the hot dog isn't good. That's fine.
Yeah.
But like the combination is what makes it beautiful and appealing and wonderful.
And that's fair. It's a take that is for me. And if like again, it doesn't apply to everything. Like I said, like if like again, the example being chicken Alfredo, you need Alfredo sauce for it to be chicken Alfredo. Therefore, that does not apply to the take.
How do you feel about sausages that have ingredients inside them? Like there's this wonderful place in Chicago. Chicago had this place called Hot Dogs. Of course.
It's a good name.
And they had these amazing flavored sausages, and it was built in the sausage. No, perfectly fine.
Yeah, you are making it that way, right? Like this is my if you like we were talking about the steaks, right? You season your steaks, marinate your steaks, right? But if you're like, oh, afterwards I put on like this honey Dijon sauce on this. No, that's not a good steak then. Use it to marinate before you cook it. Like, have some sense and some culture, damn it.
Yeah, I can stand behind that, because I don't think anyone goes to the hot dog in a Chicago hot dog and it's like, man, that beef is amazing.
No. As somebody who is within the last 2 years had gone to Chicago and tried the Chicago dog with condiment and without. Nothing special, really. In fact, I don't know how big of a fan I am of poppy seeds with my hot dogs. But that is, I just chalked it up to regional tastes, you know?
Yeah.
With that, welcome back to the Newbcast podcast. As you can tell, our conversation was really interesting during break.
We had opinions and some food.
Yeah, because you wanted to get a cheesesteak from outside of Philadelphia. I see what you did there. You used me for content. Can't believe this. I thought we were friends.
No, look. No, that's not what it was at all. It just happened to continue to build that way. I thought it was a great joke before we got... But no.
A convenient exploitation of friends. Wow. I see.
Look. I can't believe this. I thought I could be the only one that could do that for my content. This is sick. I didn't know. Is this what you and Carice felt like for your episode of My Dorkside of the Ring that is uploaded? It's already uploaded. It goes live Monday. 5 p.m. Eastern, and where you can listen to it on your favorite podcasting platforms, where me, Miss Michelle Jean, and our mutual friend Carice, who you may know as Carice Hunter, talk about the Kiss Demon.
Oh, that's right. It's funny, actually. Carice was on the podcast last year during some of the height of the VR. What was it? VR fitness movement that was going on during the pandemic. So, regulars of the show definitely know who Carice is.
Yeah, I spun that into plugging my stuff. So.
Yeah, well,
that was beautiful.
Thank you. I am nothing if not a narcissist.
Oh goodness. So it's been an interesting few weeks. We're hitting that point in the gaming news cycle where we are going to be scrounging at the very bottom of the barrel for freaking news because companies start going home for holiday break and things do not release, which means there isn't news unless something else happens. I suppose with that though, some of the news, where do we even start with news? There's so many different things to talk about, and it's I don't know.
What about everybody's favorite thing that from 2021? This generation's Beanie Baby craze, NFTs.
Oh yes, that is a good
Oh
place to start.
Gosh.
This generation's Beanie Babies. Yeah. So for those that don't know, recently it was been said by Ubisoft that NFTs and blockchain is the wave of the future for games and gaming in general. And recently EA has jumped on that bandwagon going, yes, this is the best thing that could happen to gaming coming here down the pipeline. And there are some mixed reactions to that with NFTs, blockchain, and everything else.
I mean, it sounds really great for all of those people who've been spending all of their money on Bitcoin and are looking for something else to invest into. Great for them.
Right.
Yeah, fools, I would say. The people who are excited are just fools. I don't know. I'm not big on NFTs. To me, just seem like I said, I've come around on calling them the Beanie Babies of this generation. Like, it is a thing that 10, 15 years from now, we're going to look back on and go, people really spent money on all this bullshit thinking it was going to make them money when, like, there's more value in a Beanie Baby than there is in an NFT, because the NFT I could just copy and, copy it into my thing, be like, hey, I have an NFT, look at me, like, look, I'm not dissing Beanie Babies. What I'm dissing is the craze that everybody in the 90s was like, hey, I'm going to sell my house to buy these 6 Beanie Babies because in 5 years, these are going to be worth 15 times what they really are. And things still haven't hit that. Like your Charizard card, Diz, where you were talking, like, that's something that has accrued a lot of value, but not because of a craze. There was no craze over collecting Pokemon cards when they came out.
Yeah.
It's now when people are like, I'm willing to pay $20,000 for a card that meant a lot to me for my nostalgia. Like, nobody's going to
there's a word.
Those of us who grew up while Beanie Babies were a craze, we're not nostalgic to that. We're not, to borrow a phrase, beholden to our nostalgia, where we're like, well, I really like the yellow and black zebra Beanie Baby that I don't know the name of, because it apparently had they all had their own names.
Yep.
But, like, nobody's going to be nostalgic for NFTs, and thus including blockchain and NFTs into your video games purposely as a game dev is one of the dumbest things. No, not game dev, but publisher, I should say.
Publishers, absolutely,
publisher is, without a doubt, one of the dumbest, non-harmful to an individual person thing that a game publisher has done in the last 10 years.
Well, and let's unfold that a little bit more. Not only is it harmful to some people and the impact that it has, but the impact that computers have on the environment and global climate change because of all the fracking mining that's occurring for blockchain and everything else. Like, it's actively harming our way of life, literally, because of how much energy is being wasted on it.
Yeah.
Gotta get the Ethereum. Gotta have it.
Right.
Gotta have that stuff.
Yeah, it's
spice, man.
I see what you did there. Yeah, let the spice flow. No, but it has that impact. It's part of the reason that Steam said that they're not going to allow that on their platform. And you know what? Hell, Valve, I fully support that. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking that stance.
I need more companies to just call people who are into the NFT craze like bozos. Like,
yeah.
I need Valve to be like, look, they're bozos. We're not allowing no bozos, NFT bozos on here. Like we general jousting is about as low as like we value general jousting more than your NFT gaming. Like
yeah. Well,
like that's what that's saying. That is what Valve is saying by saying that, and that would make me go, "Damn,
so,
NFTs are really lame."
Yeah, they really are. And so the thing about NFTs that get me is just the fact that it's like, oh, you had the authentic ownership of this this digital piece of whatever, and it's like, well, first off, that's complete bullshit, because there's been more than one instance where it's discovered that in the metadata of these particular items, that is not the original content. Someone else actually owns that copyright, which, hey, that is an actual thing that has value, is a copyright. So there's that. The other thought I had around it is another guest that we had on the show, Megan Fox, who is the developer behind Skatebird. And so she's an indie developer. She flat out said, "Thank you, Ubisoft and EA, for driving more gamers to indie games, because we won't be doing that." And yeah, I mean, knowing that Megan took that stance, like, I will buy another one of your games and early support it if that's the case, because good lord,
it's such a sunk cost to be into NFTs. Like cryptocurrency is one thing, right? Like there's validity in the idea that you're making this universal currency that is worth this much and projects to be this much and this and that, and it's been around for a decade almost.
Yep.
So there's some staying power behind it, which now is causing all the other ones that come out, and it's like, Dogecoin is worth a penny.
I can tell you. Hold on.
Yeah, no, like I don't know what it is, like what one Dogecoin is, and it's like, well, why am I spending $75 on Dogecoin? Because in the last year it has accrued, like, made it to 150. I guess it's a good return on investment, but
so Dogecoin is currently worth 26.4865 cents per coin. That's USD, by the way.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
whereas, you know, a year ago it was worth 0.2 of a cent.
Oh, so it gained. Yeah, I mean, that's what, 1,000%.
1,000%.
I mean, yeah, okay, that's not bad. That's good. Part of that's the craze of cryptocurrency. Like, you gotta know everything. But like, it's also unregulated, which means it'll be regulated by people who don't care to understand it, and because they're confused by it, they're going to make it entirely, they're just going to shut it down rather than try to learn and understand it. Like, this is how things work in government, is if people don't understand shit, they just go, fuck it, it's bad, it's illegal, absolutely. Or the people who do understand it either lobby for it to be a good thing or a bad thing. So it's like, you know, like, like, marijuana is bad, here's some money to agree for you to agree to me. Where it's like, Bitcoin's good, thus crypto is good, here you go, here's the money I made off of this shit.
So I guess the one thing with that, though, is with crypto, that still circles right back to the other problem with the environmental impact that it has. And are there other ways for those type of currencies to exist and not, you know, destroy our home?
No.
Yeah.
The only one I've heard of, there was one, I don't even remember the name of it, but it's one that basically had ticks for, you put up a wireless router in your house, and it acts as like a public hotspot, and you can use that hotspot based on users coming through. But I'm sure there's a catch to that too, where something's being sold for free to make that money, because nothing's free.
Yeah, I think the scenario with NFTs is appealing to the Beanie Baby demographic, right? Because you've got the people who are playing Pokemon, where the first edition that came out, there wasn't any sense that there was going to be anything more with it. Those people who got the game got it because they legitimately enjoyed the concept of it, and a lot of copies of that disappeared because we were all 8-year-old kids who broke our cards. And with those first edition cards, there's a lot of value because it was before things got popular that you had that going on. You have the scenario with Bitcoin and a lot of the earlier cryptos where, like, people had no idea what was going on. They were into it because they were into the concept of it. And it got to a certain point where like the primary interest was not, oh hey, let's have this economy that isn't independently controlled and affected by different countries and things that are going on, to, oh hey, we can make money on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Beanie Babies was, hey, we're going to make money on this thing. And that's the part that really scares me with NFTs. Do I think crypto has its own challenges? Certainly. Like, maybe the market on Pokemon cards will eventually deflate because nostalgia is going to kick out. There is still that possibility, but like, it's still heavily rewarding the people who got in early in the process, no matter really what happens in that. And as a layperson who hasn't gotten into that material or in crypto, well, I've got my Pokemon cards. In fairness, I've got a couple.
Yeah.
Like, it's a totally different environment being on the outside looking in. Like, if you are looking at NFTs, if you're looking at crypto at this point, because you're in a pile of regret because you joked about, oh my gosh, that college professor gave all of those students one Bitcoin as a matter of a class, and he wasted $600 of his dollars. And now you're like, oh shit, I've completely misread this scenario. Those people now have hundreds of thousands of dollars. What the hell am I doing? Yeah. Like, the train has already left the station. Yeah. Don't try to run on it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? With like things that are sent out to make rich people money, like NFTs or Beanie Babies, or not even like, because the thing is like rich people are going to buy the NFTs because they're going to be like, well, I'll just keep I have money to waste on this. But like, I work at a cemetery for a day job. I'm not buying a goddamn NFT. I'm just not, because you're not charging me, $500 for the temporary rights to an image of a knockoff Gorillaz character. Like, cool. Like, yeah. You have garbage pail Gorillaz. That's great. Good job for you. I don't give a fuck. And it has zero value to me. It has zero value outside of your world. But the people in your world are just going to keep trading money. Yep. They're going to give you $500 for it. You're going to take that $500 and buy something else, and it's just going to be a circle jerk of the same $500. And you're just going to tell people that it made you money, when in reality, at the end of the day, something made you money. I don't think it was that individual ape thing. Like, nobody's going to care about that, because, like you said, you don't actually own the right to it. Yeah. Like, the rights holder can rescind it at any time. I don't want this to be an NFT anymore. Give me this back.
Yep.
I don't have to pay you out.
Yeah. Like, copyright's law on it, so it's going to take precedent. I think the reason that stuck out in my mind, right, is Philip DeFranco was talking about NFTs was a while ago, and he was talking about how these images were actually stolen images. And as a person who is a photographer who has images out on the internet, that I sell those images, right? Like, oh, I want that in my living room because it looks very pretty. That type of thing. Like, I just first off, how do I not know that the images aren't stolen, right? So if you're buying an NFT, how do you know what you're buying isn't stolen? Too, why would I want to try to offer it up that way when I can just instead go, here's the copyright I will sell you? Because at that point, there's a legal document to it, and there's something actually attached to what I'm offering. There's an actual product there. And it's circling back to the game industry and what they're talking about with NFTs there, it's just like the games themselves on platforms like Epic and Steam and whatnot. You don't actually own anything. You just don't. It's just another way for them to take your money.
I gave them money, Michelle. I gave them money. If I give you money, I own a thing. This has been true for hundreds of years. Ever since man created currency. When I give you four shiny stones and you give me an axe, that has been the way it works. I own that axe.
Yeah, but not now, because
no, that's not how this works. I'm sure. Look, I'm a true capitalist. I understand capitalism. Maybe you don't, but if I give you money for a thing, I own it, and that's the NFT theory. Yes, I own the thing. Yeah, you know what?
But when we buy things on Steam, we're technically buying a license to play those games that can be revoked at any time.
No, that's not true. I own the game. I gave Steam money so that I could download a digital copy of the game's code directly to my computer. That's mine forever. No one can ever take it away from me.
He says with a smirk on his face.
Yeah, I couldn't even go all the way.
I was saying, except when you get into late game capitalism, where you give me money and I give you a pseudo ownership over something, but I actually still own it. That's really how that works.
Wait a second. This is why EA loves it so much. What?
I was gonna say, like, I already know what EA's NFT infusion is gonna be, and you look at all their like FIFA My Team, Madden, like teams, like shit like that, where it's like, hey, you own this card for this player that you spent $50 to own, so that you can just keep basically just loot gambling away your stuff. Well, now we're going to incorporate an NFT in here, and 75 people are going to end up with this special card.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, that's not.
Once people learn that it's a sham, like I said, I actually more like what Megan said. I really hope more people end up just looking at the indie devs, or even the publishers that do AA, AAA that decided that they are not going to do that, and support them and go, look, I will actually give you some of my money because you opted not to do this. I shall reward you for your behavior. At least that's how it's supposed to work. I don't know if that's actually what's going to happen, but
capitalism says wherever the market goes, that's where the supply and demand goes. If NFT games sell, people are going to buy them, and people and like indie devs might not be able to afford it because they're going to have to pay for NFT rights of things and whatnot, but like EA will always be able to afford it. Ubisoft is doing it, and it makes even less sense that Ubisoft's doing it. Like, I don't know, what are you going to do? Give me a Siege special, like a Siege 2 NFT? Like,
it's going to be a digital copy of Altair's sword, is what it's going to be.
You have this NFT of Altair and Desmond hugging each other. It's a fanfic that we bought the rights to.
Can we have fan art of that?
Here?
Can we
like society?
Look, that idea, I almost want to be like, hey, Lady Outlier, are you around? Can we make that a thing? Can we make that a thing, please?
Let's get ahead of it. Let's like, and it's also the people involved in it are like, yeah, no, we're so smart. It's like, no, you're not. Like, it's the they don't know meme where they're in the corner like, they don't know that this is a scam, and it's like, yes, we do. We absolutely know it's a scam.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
they're just like, and the fact is, like, I'm all for billion-dollar companies falling for it and losing money. Problem is, at that point, we're making new billionaires off of a scam, and I have a hard time. I have a hard time qualifying that, but
no. Ready for this segue? Ready for this? This is a good segue, right?
Ooh.
So talking about the economical impacts that this has, it creates economical situations that aren't always the easiest for people to deal with and things. And because of that, over in Korea, a very relatable show came out that everyone else is watching. It's like, wow, this is very relatable. I can understand why they would do this. Referring to Squidgame.
I've yet to watch it.
Oh.
I understand the concept is super late stage capitalism, fantasy.
Set in a modern setting.
Fantasy is a very charged word for this.
I mean fantasy, not in the sense of like fantasy theater or something. I mean like late stage capitalism fever dream almost, where it's like, yeah, no, we're gonna monetize people dying. Yes, that's
Yeah,
rather than address this, but yeah, I understand. Yeah,
it's somebody's fantasy, I guess.
So
yes, it is. I can tell you, there are definitely people who have that.
Right. Well, but so Squidgame completely blew up. Everyone knows Squidgame. I'm sure at Halloween we saw how many green tracksuits out there for costumes, or the pink suit workers.
Yeah, and all of your favorite music artists have already remixed that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, right, the theme.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
I am nodding in agreement. Yes.
What I found interesting was this one article coming across a content creator named Squid Gaming. And her Twitch handle was Squid Game and has been for nearly a decade.
Oh no. Oh no.
This is rough.
Yeah, and she's a little broken up right now because of the name of the show. People automatically assume that she just jumped ahead of them and got the branding and was just copying them, despite the fact that she's actually owned or been called Squid Gaming or Squid Game for a very long time.
Well, and Squid Game, the Netflix series, has been on our radar for what, like 3 minutes?
Right. Yeah. So like, just going to her. Let's just see here. Her. Just looking at her Twitter. Her Twitter was created in February of 2011. And if you go to her Twitch channel, which is Squid Game, let's see if it actually is going to show me when she created her channel. We're not going to actually play your audio, Squid Game, sorry. So part of the problem that she's running into is she's, one, received harassment about it because people think that she's copied the show. Two, because of the association with the naming of the show and her branding, she's now losing out on brand deals and is actually receiving an income impact from this.
Not to mention harassment from people who think she's trying to capitalize on the Squid Game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you can go back and find, her YouTube that has videos from 3 years ago, let alone 10 years ago, 5 years ago, well before Squid Games were even a thought in their empty brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this is one of those things of, as a content creator, I always tell people, like, hey, like, you have to start, like, you have to think like a business almost immediately if you want to make content creating your career.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want it to be your career, then you have to treat it like a career, which means you have to protect yourself from litigation at some point. Like, you have to be able to be like, no, I own the rights to the name TGrumm, on branding. I have the copyright. I own the rights for streaming content under the name Grum and merchandise over the name Grum, stuff like that, and whatnot, which is hard to do if you're a smaller streamer, because that shit costs a lot of money, and you have to, and if it's at all contested at all, you have to go to court over it.
Yep.
And the people who own these rights tend to be expensive, lawyers
and they can keep it in court for a long time.
Yeah, there are legit lawyers who will go and get like empty copyrights just so that they can sue people and buy more. Like, it is ridiculous. But this is one of those things of, like, this is why you need to do it, because the typewriting monkey will come up with ideas. The theory that if you put a monkey in a typewriter in a room, they'll type up a story. Just the way that the world works is eventually something will come along that has a similar name, and you could be there she could have, like Squid Games could be around for 25 years as the content creator. The minute this hits more people and they associate Squid Games with the show versus it no longer, she, like I said, she could have been doing this for 25 years. I mean, she's part of Yogcast, for Christ's sake.
Yep.
Like, there's 7 million people that are a part of that. 147 million people have watched Squid Games, and that's probably a conservative thought, because you probably have people who are watching together and whatnot, but that's how they, Netflix has said how many people. That is 20 times more. And, like, the difference between 7 million and 8 million is 1 million, and that's a lot of rice kernel things.
I see what you did there. Nice tie-in. Nice tie-in. Like, I mean, I'm just looking at it. What, 44,000 followers? You don't get that just by trying to copy someone in a few weeks. That doesn't happen. And you mentioned Yogscast. They wouldn't just take you on if you're copying a brand. That's just not how. But
But what does she do at this point? Like,
That's the
how
question.
does she move forward? Because
That's
here's
the
something that
question.
she's been holding on to for all of this time.
Yeah.
And like, she's been remarkably harmed by the popularity of this series that is completely independent of her product and everything else. She could very rightly have her own trademark for it in the streaming environment, in the gaming environment, and not have a leg to stand on about like funds on this other than just the harm that the circumstances created. And that's not even Netflix's fault.
No. It's just it's that I don't want to say guilty by association, but it's that association just by name alone, because it's the brand deal thing where she tweeted about it. She said she's lost 3 deals because of that just name association.
Yeah, and that all, like, there's so many levels to this, right? Like, there's a level that, like, if you get no matter how big of a streamer you become, if something comes along that has the same name as you and it becomes popular, you're fucked.
Yeah.
There's the, hey, like, she should have done, got U.S. copyright laws for that, but it wouldn't have mattered because Netflix would have looked at that and, like, found a way, because that's what billion-dollar corporations do, is they find a way to go around. It's like, well, we'll copyright Squid Games and it won't interfere with this copyright because they don't share the same space. Like, she could very well have this, copyright for it, and it's not going to matter because she's, has the brand of Squid Gaming and whatnot, and that's the gaming space. But the way copyright laws work and whatnot, they could absolutely, that's a TV show. There's different things like there's what is it? Game theory, right? Is a thing that has been around as a scientific thing, but there's been multiple television shows, there's multiple forms of entertainment that use game theory.
Sure. I mean, look at MatPat. I mean, MatPat's been doing that for a while too, and I'm sure that there's always an overlap like that.
Yeah, ESPN's Bomani Jones has an HBO show coming out, I think, in the spring called Game Theory with Bomani Jones. Or I think it might just be Game Theory, but it's just one of the things of, like, they have the right to it because it's a television show versus a streaming or a YouTube channel or this and that. And it's like, you can't just have a blanket. And you can absolutely have a blanket to merchandising, content, all this stuff, but it's the way, like, it's one of those, hey, look, we're so far behind in terms of, like, laws versus technology. Like, there's nothing that they, like, we're not even like streaming wasn't a thing 5 years ago the way it is now.
No, not. Yeah, I mean, it's come so far as far as that streaming and the just the culture of it all, right? I mean, it really started taking off with probably Justin TV technically, but the arena that we're in now, there's no way to future proof it and protect yourself, and no one's got the audience really to do it, because I mean, how often have streamers partnered with mainstream media? It's you can count on one hand.
Yeah, I mean, you could go the other direction and just make your name super generic, and nobody will ever confuse you that way. I mean, there's deer, there's cheese, there's Heepoh.
I see what you did there. Ooh, coming full circle on that one.
Like, it's I mean, like, there it is. It's you can make it generic, but also, like, the article, she had said, like, look, like, her name's Lydia. People call her Lid Squid. People call her Lid the Squid or something like that. Like, it's a name that is a nickname from earlier that she then just used in streaming.
Yep.
And again, 10 years ago, highly doubt anybody's gonna go, yeah, Squid Games. That's a marketable name of a billion-dollar company's, like, flagship television series.
Yeah. There's no way to predict that. Yeah. And yeah, you're talking about games.
10 years ago, Netflix isn't even producing their own content. They're still sending out DVDs. Like, this is how far things go, and you can't have that kind of foresight, but you can try to like get yourself as protected.
It's funny you should say that too, because you mentioned you mentioned Game Theory that's coming out on HBO, but I went back. I don't know if you heard the music for a second, but that was me trying to load up a video. It was the very first episode of Game Theory that came out in April of 2011. MatPat did that video back over 10 years ago. So this is another case of this has been a product that's been around for over 10 years now, but because of the impact, there's now there's an association that even if they are in different realms, and you have that whole copyright discussion that like, well, this is on HBO, you're on YouTube. There's still going to be a brand association with there too. I'm actually going to be very curious to see if MatPat talks about it more, to be perfectly honest with you. Especially with in the grand scheme of things, he can't compete with an HBO, but I mean, Game Theorist's got 14 million subs. So
that's the thing is like this show has been announced for months now. Like it hasn't it's just one of those things. If we don't occupy the same lane, so we shouldn't have that much of a problem. But it's also a very weird, like, oh hey, this isn't necessarily a problem for us right now, so we're not going to worry about it. But another layer to this is brands not being able to disassociate and being overly cautious of like, yeah, we're random tech company. No, we don't want to associate with you because Squid Games involves people dying. But I'm not Squid Games. Yeah, but the consumers are fucking idiots. Like, they're going to associate. And it's like, if you do a good job as a marketing department within a company, you should be able to very clearly make people understand that your partnership with Squid Game, the content creator, has nothing to do with Squid Games, the Korean show.
Yep.
On Netflix. Like, you're just lazy and like, we don't want to deal with it. No, you're like, no. You're not being smart. You're just being flat out lazy and harming this. But like, to me, it's like, I want to know who those people who are pulling out of those partnerships based on that, because that's a stupid fucking company.
Yeah.
And like, I want to know who it is so they can get flamed for being lazy and incompetent.
Well, so I think that not only that, but then you also put the complication back onto the streamer, right? And it's like, well, how many streamers do you know that have an MBA?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that there are very few and far between. So it's absolutely ridiculous. I think as we continue to see streaming as a form of content that is consumed and is being consumed more in greater numbers, that these type of complications are going to keep popping up, and it's going to be unfortunate when you have another person that makes it really far into a content creation career, and all of a sudden, oh, here comes a show with a much larger platform, and it ruins everything.
And you just try to protect as a content creator. Always treat yourself if content creating is what you want to do, and you got to understand something like this there's a non-zero chance that this happens to every creator. Like in 5 years there could be a series called Grumm. How do I know this? Because there's a fucking character in Power Rangers called Emperor Grumm. Right? Like, okay. There's something that happened in the past that has used my username. Like, it's one of those things of shit happens, right? And there are journalists that use their screen name as other people, what ends up being other people's last names, because that's just, again, the chimpanzee in a room with a typewriter. There's a non-zero chance of everything happening. Like, it's unfortunate. So you should probably try to do your best now and be like, all right, like, what would it cost me to get, like, what would it cost me to have Miss Michelle Jean copyrighted as a brand? What would it cost me to do that? Like, and there's ways to do about it. You go like I know a lot of people who've become LLCs as entertainers and content creators, so it's easier for them to get those rights for cheaper, basically.
Right. Well, you get that, but then it also becomes a question: when does it become economically feasible?
Correct. Yeah.
I think last week Zach Bussey was talking about that on his stream, talking about where it would be beneficial for content creators to look at LLC. And I don't distinctly remember the number off the top of my head. I'd have to Adam to get that number, but it was a number that was a decent number where it was like, well, if I was earning that much, I'd be pretty successful, I would think. Not like overly like I'm living luxuriously, but it's enough to have an economical impact on your wallet, especially if it's a secondary career. You know, it's that large enough of a number, which that says something in and of itself. Yeah.
I just think she's unfortunately she's like Diz said, and some people in the chat. What's done is done. Like Pandora's box is open, and doesn't matter how many legs she has to stand on in this conversation. Like
she's a squid. She has no legs.
Well, she's got tentacles. She's got at least 10 tentacles, could up to 24. I don't know what kind of squid she could be, but she has tentacles to stand on, arms to stand on. But there's only so much that you can do, and at this point it's like, well, I mean, me being petty, I'd be like, my new nickname change. Netflix Netflix fucked my life. Like that's the new username.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that would then get you even more so. But I would be petty and just rename it and not pay any money to brand myself to that name and then get to a different name. But like it just like it's unfortunate. But again, it wouldn't be so bad if it and let me preface. I'm aware that this is going to sound bad at first. Hear me out all the way through to the sentence. It wouldn't be as bad if it was just losing the sponsorship and marketing partnerships with companies. But she's also dealing with people calling her out for shit she has no control over because human beings are utter garbage. And it's like, well, I don't know. Humans be better. Like, why are you going to this random person who you find, who, for all accounts purposes, all of her accounts suggest she's been around longer than Squid Games have as a concept? Why are you telling her that she's a fraud, that she's fake, that she should, end herself, do this, do that, and harassing her because you have such a fondness for a television show?
Yeah.
Like, touch some grass.
Yeah, well,
please touch some grass.
For people that continue to do that, it's just the emphasis of it's something I've used to say on my channel a long time ago, but it's don't be a douche canoe. It's that simple, It's really that simple, and unfortunately, people are doing it. It's interesting because the impact that those type of words and voices have impact on why other people do what they do too. Ready for the segue because I figured out the segue tonight. Another big change is and it comes from a content creator whose name is still original at this point in time, is regarding Mr. DJWheat.
DJWheat. Oh,
yeah,
I love that show.
Yeah, DJWheat, for those that don't know, is a longtime content creator, celebrated 10 years at Twitch. And the window that I was referencing, I completely closed because I'm fully prepared like that. But on top of, so he's been doing content creation for 22 years, started as a shoutcaster, ended up on doing esports commentary, and 10 years ago ended up at Twitch, where he currently holds the title as the director of creator development. And part of his 10-year celebration, announced that he was leaving Twitch at the end of January.
Wow.
He announced that on Twitter yesterday. This morning he held an AMA on his channel. I was able to catch it in the morning while conducting other work, where I was able to post a question, and it was interesting. It was a lot of interesting discussion that regarding that. But one thing that really stuck out to me wasn't the answer to the question I asked. It was a question that another person had asked, and the question was, DJWheat, did some of the harassment and the blaming of things occurring on Twitch lead to your departure, your planned departure? To which his response was 1,000%. He went a lot further into it, and there was a lot of things that he talked about in that regard. But that was one of the big things that stuck out to me, was because of how harmful people are. This man that has had this career for a decade now with the company, for his mental health, has decided to step away from the role.
Yikes.
Like, you got to take care of your mentals first. Like, also, being the let me see. I didn't want to say being the PR guy, but being assumed to be the PR guy, the person that gets put out damn near weekly to front for abuse and harassment for a company that just doesn't care about its product, because that's what the users are not people, they're products. That's how Twitch views it. He's got to be the person who just deals with all that bullshit, and yeah, for the first couple of years it's pretty easy, you know, it's very easy, but you know, Amazon comes in, buys it, makes it a little tougher, you know, everybody's saying bleed purple, and it's like,
I think so.
But that implies that you should be bleeding.
Well,
correct.
Yes. Well, so, you know, Zach Buss, he talked about this today. It was talked about in DJWheat's stream. Part of that bleed purple culture was part of that early
indoctrination.
Yeah, well, it was the culture of early Twitch, you know, and DJWheat was one of the holdovers from early Twitch. My question to him was, you know, a decade's a long time to spend in the company, so what are some of the memories that stick out to you, having spent a decade there? And his memories, as he started talking about it, were memories from early on, starting projects early in his career at Twitch, and what it was like to go through those processes, and not as much about what happened now. The most recent thing that he's proud about is TwitchCon, which, I mean, the idea behind it I can support. I know I've criticized 2018, but, you know, for context for that, I was also a con runner. I've also run a convention, so
I don't know. I just went through a back door and got in. And I didn't go through no lines. I don't know about y'all. You guys all here following lines and everything. I saw a door that was, I'm like, is this door open? And then somebody opened the door for me, thinking I was not an attendee. Thought that I was supposed to be inside. I said, it pays to be a big guy who can carry things. Let's fucking go. So, but
yeah, but
yeah, go ahead.
I'd say some of the stuff though, just constantly being the bombardment for it and not giving any type of support to him. I mean, what does it say about the company if that's how he felt? And granted, he owned the fact that he at times was was having a hard time separating the feedback about Twitch, and took it as feedback for himself. And he admitted that he was having a hard time separating that. And that I mean, that's true. But I think a lot of people suffer at that when you're working for a brand, especially if you're loyal to that brand, you know, you actually support your company, and you constantly get bombarded. And I wouldn't say receive, I would say bombarded with negative feedback. Like, you got to support those people. And fortunately, it sounds like he wasn't always getting it.
Yeah, when you're passionate and you feel like you're making your mark and you're putting your piece into an organization, then it becomes you. Like that's a very risky thing to get into. And I found it really compelling that that when the post was made, the answer of what he's doing next is taking a break.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't a specific thing that's planned out. This is just be out there, find out what it's like to be, you know, regular human for a little bit. And I mean,
Just being
good
Marcus. Yeah.
Good for Wheat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hats off for Wheat. Like, he deserves as long as a break as he wants to take in that in that thing and do whatever. Like, he did a lot of carrying of water for Twitch. That
He sure did.
Me personally, I wouldn't have done. I would have, you know, once, like, I would have maybe taken some disrespect, like that level of disrespect he got because he was the guy. Like, there's a point where your loyalty no longer gets paid for and they take advantage of it. And I certainly feel the last year and some change has been the later for not just DJWheat, but a lot of people who are heavily associated with Twitch, where it's like, hey, like I'll use like Dr. Lupo for an example, right?
Yep.
He's a content creator who was deeply associated with Twitch. Why? Because Twitch, anytime you go, man, Twitch is a toxic cesspool of shit people like XQC and this person and that person, and you're like, Twitch's like, whoa, hold on, Lupo.
Yep.
And they're like,
he was the
Lupo's
poster
like,
child.
Who said my name? Why'd you say my name? Oh, hi, hello, yes, I do charity stuff. He just gets now, he becomes the face of it, of the good side of Twitch. So when shit happens on Twitch, people go to Lupo, rightly or wrongly, and say, hey, what about this thing that happened? And it's like, well, fuck, my job is not to be the PR for fucking Twitch. My job is to be a content creator. But I'm in a position where I have to do this, and so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to try to do it as what's the word? Diplomatically as possible, where I say enough right things that you get off my back, but I don't say enough to really put the pressure on Twitch and to really take a stand in one direction or the other. So, and like it wore on him.
Yeah.
You know? And he said as much of like, look, being the guy on Twitch did play a factor.
Yep.
More important, not as much as like, hey, I only have to stream 100 hours, like, you know, with my contract, and I make more than, you know, whereas they're offering me, you know, more money, but also near 3 times the amount of required hours streaming. But like, it's one of those things of, you know, like for DJWheat, it's like, cool, like you did this thing and you sat there and weathered the storm, and you never got a break. Like, it's, you know, hey, Twitch isn't doing, you know, Twitch creators aren't saying anything after George Floyd's murder and during Black Lives Matter, you know, protests across, you know, demanding for, you know, racial equity.
Yep.
And, you know, and a social justice reform. And, you know, it's like, oh, boy, whew, that was a crazy 2 like, why is nobody, okay, like, all right, cool, speaking out hits, fuck, like, now this one is like, something that, like, is more, like, direct just for Twitch that I kind of have to front for, and yes, I agree that this thing, but I also have to say these certain things because Twitch wants me to say these type of things, or I have to do this, and okay, whew, I can breathe.
Well, and I
there's
think
no TwitchCon. Shit, I got to do GlitchCon. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got, like, the last 18 months for people like DJWheat has not been a fun one.
No,
and it's only continued to ramp up in intensity of just being intense. Like,
yeah, well, and you know, the hot water that Twitch has found itself in the last couple months. I mean, you had the huge thing with hate raids. You had the hacking of Twitch, which resulted in its source code being readily available. You had the most recent one where you had credit card scams and bits used for laundering money. All of that is stuff that is like all came at once, you know, within the span of a month and a half, and it's just like, good Lord, when does it stop? I mean, if it was something that he was on the fence of, and these 3 things came within a month and a half of each other, that was like the wave crashing on the coast and knocking this person off the fence. And he didn't say that, but I mean, it's safe to come to that conclusion that is a definite possibility of, it was just with the constant bombardment of what he had to receive, and then that on top of it, being the PR guy, being the director of community management, that it was going to, it would wear on just about anyone, especially if you didn't have the support for it. Yeah, no, I think his stream this morning was really good. And his, you know what, the one thing I really appreciated was just his being honest about stuff. Like the fact that he flat out said, 1,000% of the stuff that he was dealing with weighed on him, and it absolutely had an impact on it. The fact that he didn't hide it, and that was I can respect that. But
yeah, he is a stronger human being than I am, because I would have told a lot of people to go fuck themselves in many different variations. Probably live on an official Twitch broadcast. Because it's just like, I'll match your energy. If you tell me that I'm a schmuck, and I'll call you a schmuck. If you tell me I should go fuck myself, you should go fuck yourself. Like there's just, I'll meet you where you want to. If you want to get down and be a dickhead, I will begrudgingly do it, despite my better judgment, 99% of the time. But like, there's a point where you, like I said, like you're taking so much of it that it's that wave crash that would have happened so much more before for me, because it's just a matter of, I that's his job, and I would not be in that position anyways, because I would not take that kind of job. I would not be like, yeah, sure, I'll host your stuff, I'll be your PR guy, soft, don't worry about hiring a PR, technically, kind of, but you should hire a PR person. Like, having to be the face, and almost every time, an hour before he goes live, something, or like the show would go live, he has, like, something happens, and it's like, I'm not prepped for this, guys. You're not helping me out here. You're out here fucking shit up, and now I have to deal with this. Okay, cool. Like, as long as the check's clear, I guess.
Right.
I got a roof over my head. I can't be too mad.
I think what I'm going to do is probably just continue to hold on to some of those memories I have of him, because I really appreciate his esports commentary, especially with him with Day 9 are some of my favorite. But maybe he'll get back into that a bit. I mean, it's Day 9, so yeah. Speaking of departures, not only Twitch had a recent announcement of a departure.
We're on the segue.
Yeah, on the segue. Jen O'Neill, co-head of Blizzard Entertainment, has announced that she's stepping away from her role, and she will be handing the reins completely over to Mike Ibarra.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah, she lasted up there for what? How long? 4 months?
Sounds about right.
Started late June, so July, August, September, October. Yeah, 4 months. 4 months. And her statement, if you go back and if you read the PR statement, she flat out says that she has full faith in the abilities of the company. But I mean, this is the PR statement on Blizzard's website. It's going to make it sound as sugar-coated as possible. Is that the truth, or is it more of the case of, there's an awful lot of shit here, it stinks, and I need to get away from it? I feel like that's a question, right?
But I think it was I'm confident about leaving because of Blizzard. That was like, that's literally a hard counter statement before the statement even comes up.
Look,
that's a little sus. If that were an Among Us game, that would be sus.
I'll go one step further. I didn't say where her confidence was. Just said that they're confident because of Blizzard. I could be confident that Blizzard's going to fuck this up when I'm leaving. Could very well have been what was meant by that statement. I don't know. I'm reading it now, and I know, like I said, it's typical PR. It's on their website to be like, yeah, on a macro level, we've been navigating the important changes that we must undertake in what is known as a creative powerhouse that brought hundreds of millions of players into Azeroth Sanctuary and more. And it's like, that boat has sailed long ago. Even if you get back to being that level of notoriety, it is because of this scale of just your workplace being incredibly toxic and horrible.
Yep.
You're that, again, similar to the Squid. Pandora's box is open. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Blizzard will forever known, and for good reason, as a toxic dump of an environment to work in.
Yep.
That people just put up with because it's their dream job. They wanted to do this for their whole life.
Sure. I mean, and that's the story of a lot of devs that ended up there, and I think we've talked about that on the show before too. It's just that's what it is. A lot of people dream of getting there because of the content they put out, and it's a mess. I think it's really interesting, and not only that, but it wasn't both of them left. It was the co-leadership. It happened to be the woman at the top of it too, which. Based on the toxicity that was expressed in the lawsuits that came out, and then all the complaints that followed, did that factor into it?
Absolutely. I mean, for the sound of it, Jen O'Neill's going to go make her own company.
Mm-hmm.
Because on a micro level, I've listened to the stories from people all over Blizzard and been inspired and been thinking about the potential of what I can do as an individual to create the most meaningful change.
I had a conversation with Mike Morheim and saw how grateful it sounds to be back out on my own. So I'm going to go ahead and try that myself, see what the hell happens.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to go make a good dev company built on these things right away, because it is easier to do that than to sit here and try to rebuild. Because again, like it's not just the workplace, it is the player base. Like, you have these people who are playing these games that don't understand the big deal of it. Well, why are you changing McCree's name? Why is it no longer McCree? I don't understand what that has to do with anything. Why are you punishing me, a fan of this character? And it was like, because it was done for a specific reason. They were named for a very specific reason, and that reason turns out to be a very bad reason.
Yep. Like, and you, Mr. Fan number 5,700,632. They don't care.
No, nobody. Nobody cares about what McCree, the name origin of McCree. Nobody really cares about leave my McCree alone.
Well, and the thing is, like, if they're going
I need to do some inflection there, so in case anybody heard, they're like, "Oh no, he's actually no." It's like,
well, okay. And the thing is, okay, talking about Blizzard in general, if you're talking about Blizzard lore, if you're going to get on a high horse, like, well, this undoes the story, blah, blah, blah. Have you read the Warcraft lore? Have you seen how the lore has changed 3 times? 3, at least. At least 3. And for someone that's a lore junkie, that is really fucking difficult to deal with, okay? Stop changing shit, right? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I'm a lore junkie. It just means, well, shit, now I got more books I gotta buy if I want to try to keep up with this garbage.
Is it just me, or is the original name of the gunslinger really just like a dog whistle at this point?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, well said. That's exactly what it is.
Hey, everybody, I agree that there's nothing wrong with toxic workplaces where, we have Cosby rooms because, where we take women to.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
can you say retcon? Sure, I knew you could. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No. And like, this is the thing, right? Like, like I said earlier, I loved Overwatch, right? So I love the characters, all that stuff. I love the stories that they built, around the world, even though the game itself is a very straightforward team arena shooter thing. But like all this story and like, oh wow, hey, Tracer's lesbian. That's cool. No, my girl, my internet waifu. No, like, buddy, here's the thing. She wasn't gonna let you pipe. She's not real. Like, she's a computer generated character that you fell for because you don't touch enough grass. Like, you don't go outside and have real conversations with people. Like, this is the thing where there's a very specific demographic of people who do not care about the issues at Blizzard because they themselves see no issues with what they did. Because, well, I would do the same thing if I was rich. Women would love me. It's like, well, you are ugly and you have no personality. That's why you get no bitches. That's why.
And there's this assumption that the entire world and everything, every product that is made out there is designed for, you know, your heteronormative standard of life as like a straight white male as in gaming.
Yep.
And the problem is having to break that standard is difficult to do, especially in an environment that has reinforced that standard in a lot of different ways. We're seeing some of the stuff that's internal to Blizzard, but I think that you can point to a lot of things like in lore, in story, and what's going on, where it's been lore, like, you get some token representation every once in a blue moon, but token representation doesn't do that. You know, like there's a wonderful meme of what's his face, the cousin from Harry Potter saying, you know, I only got 47 gifts for my birthday. I wanted 48.
Yeah.
Yes. It's that.
Yeah.
Suddenly, yeah. No, it really is. I don't think what people really understand is like, well, how dare they have this representation? It's like, because we don't get the representation as much as we'd like. So when we actually see it, we latch on because we go, it's something we can relate to. Whereas for Joe Schmo that has had as many different characters that he could identify with, that he could shake his stick at, we haven't had the same luxury. So suck it up, Buttercup.
And don't feel awkward or uncomfortable that you relate to a character that doesn't exactly match your demographics every once and again too. Like, trust me, as you know, as a non-heteronormative person, there are characters that I absolutely love in games that are straight, and that's absolutely great. And hey, I'm getting that too. You can enjoy a queer character, strangely enough, and not feel like you are going to be questioned about your sexuality or your existence.
Boy, you know, I'm glad you said that, because that just reassures. I'm sitting over here, you know, I like Soldier 76, but I was afraid people would think I like sucking dick if I liked playing as Soldier 76. So naturally, that's reassuring. I can now go back to, you know, target acquiring everybody and their mother without having to worry about, does this mean I just want a thick dick in my mouth? Like, is this this is a concern that I've had for the last several years, and I'm so glad, Diz, that you have reassured me that it is okay for me, a straight man, to relate and enjoy the character model and build and play style of a character who, you know, does not appreciate the same things I do. This is very reassuring. I can't wait to tell my friends. They're going to be disappointed because they were excited because they thought I wanted a thick dick in my mouth because I played Soldier 76. So yeah.
This has been the best guest visit we've had.
Well, I pat myself on the back. Oh, my shoulder.
So, you know, funny thing about that too. I think even though we're having this conversation, I think that there's probably a chunk of the player base that played Blizzard games that do tend to agree with this concept and have been dropping Blizzard games as their game of choice for a little bit. As it turns out, there was another article that was posted talking about being in the storm of things, where they've dropped their player base on Battle.net by 13%.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's interesting that they use the 13% when you realistically see that they still have 26 million people playing their games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
numbers, you know, when you say percent, people go, "Oh wow, 13%," and that's still a lot. Like, I mean, 13% of 26 million is a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's more than two.
That's about 3 million people.
Yeah. Like that's a lot of fucking people that have gone. I'm done. I'm done supporting this company. I'm never logging into. And here's the thing: they haven't put out any new like purchasable content. I don't think they have since all this stuff came out. So they haven't necessarily been really impacted outside of people canceling subscriptions for World of Warcraft. I believe
that's one thing. Diablo 2 Resurrection was something they did that was post controversy.
Yeah.
But I mean that in and of itself had its own controversy around server issues and everything else. And I mean, we talked about that too, because Blizzard and servers aren't exactly something that go hand in hand well either. They tend to tremble together.
Yeah. And that's, I don't know. I would wish, I would not wish people losing their jobs. Like there are people who work at Blizzard who are not partaking. They're actively going against this type of, culture and workplace toxicity. They are a voice being drowned out by the silence and apathy of a lot of people probably. But boy, would it be a lesson to a lot of places in the gaming industry if Blizzard were to crumble in the next 2 years as a result of this. It's like, hey, look, you better get your shit in order right now, because if they can fucking fail because of their lack of fucking care and the way that their culture is built, the sure shit can happen to you too, pal.
Yep. Looking
like
at
EA, that wouldn't happen to EA. EA is one of those too big to fail companies.
Yeah.
Like it is just not.
But Ubisoft, Riot, Paragon.
Yep.
No.
I mean, Riot is still dealing with their shit.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
sure are.
Yeah.
Like, man, I know people who were really big into Valorant, and I ain't heard shit about Valorant. Like,
yeah.
I know part of it is they released a very LAN heavy game, or a game that would have done very well with LAN tournaments in the middle of a pandemic, right before a pandemic, and that kind of killed its momentum. But like,
I mean, it didn't help it, that's for sure.
Yeah, but also like they're just also a toxic gaming place where their player base is even more toxic than your Blizzard, because at least Blizzard had their token representation. Yeah, you had your gay character here, you had your gay, you had your minority representing character, even if it's a fantastical one, because the comparisons between fantasy and real life race and religion is very, very obvious once you start to really learn about it. It's like, oh, orcs are savages that need to be conquered. Where have I heard that before? Like, wow. Oh, they have. Why do all the orcs have dreadlocks? Wait a second. Hold on. And like, this is just how storytelling has always been. Mostly wrongly, because it's just like, hey, savages and this and that, and again, being the heteronormative straight white man perspective of, hey, I'm going to tell the story the way I want to tell the story, and any deviation of it is no bueno. I don't want that in my video games. But yeah, if Blizzard were to fall, it'd be a pretty good example to a lot of places. Like, look, if they can fall, you're not EA. You have to break that threshold of EA to where you don't have to worry about this shit, where you can just be corrupt and evil at all points. But yeah, Ubisoft could absolutely take this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I mean, there's, I would say in the next 3 to 4 months, I would not be surprised if something came out of Ubisoft of a similar workplace environment.
Oh, it already had. It predates Blizzard.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
No, that's right. Well, who am I thinking of that didn't? Hold on. There's I had Riot. I was confusing Ubisoft with somebody else.
The one that hasn't had it is EA. EA has not had the complaints yet.
Well,
that's the big one. That
we're worried about them allowing children to basically get addicted to gambling right now.
Yeah,
like,
it's only issue,
we only have the wherewithal and bandwidth for one scandal at a time for companies.
True.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh no, I was thinking of Valve, and I'm like, I hope we shouldn't have one at Valve, but I wouldn't be surprised if because of the industry.
Right, it's the industry, right? Because you say I don't want to expect one at Valve, but I wouldn't have expected one at, like, say, Paragon.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a problem.
Epic could be another place that's like that.
Oh, yeah, that's probably the one that we should be waiting for, to be honest.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Tying this all together a little bit, I think it's fascinating that we have to consider so much in a medium that is so focused on escapism and being in an environment where we don't have to worry about these sorts of challenges. I guess it's a different thing for every person, right? Because escaping those challenges for a lot of people is, oh, hey, I can say whatever I want and it doesn't matter because I'm anonymous, neener, neener, boo boo.
Mm-hmm.
And for other people, it's, hey, I can live my life without having to feel like I'm under constant bombardment by people. And strangely, everyone seeks that same sort of, or that sense of freedom, and finds themselves in completely opposite sides because of it.
And it, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
But the balance is swinging, and the balance is swinging towards justice, which is great to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the escapism of like, oh well, I play video games, get away from all that political and real life stuff. Like, yeah, but here's the problem: it's going unaddressed so much. Like this is how if there is somebody who is listening to this and they're going, yeah, I play video games, like, what this said is, like, I play video games for the escapism, and I don't agree that justice is coming. I just want to play my video games, and escape from, the stresses of real life. No one's saying you can't still. You can absolutely still play your games and not worry about that stuff. That is an option. But if it is bothering you to that point, then you need to think about why it is spilling into your hobby that you use to escape, because the word choice is reason. It is spilling into. You can't escape it anymore because there's so much shit that is overflowing into your, like, oh, I'm just trying to watch television. Why does everything have to be political on television? I'm just trying to watch this TV show that I've watched. Yeah, I'm just trying to watch Law and Order SVU. Why do they have to make such political statements? It's like, well, you haven't been paying attention to SVU if that's the case. Like, like
right?
It's in like year 37 of existing about like, hey, white men are terrible and they do terrible things, especially those in power. Like, they've been doing this. Like, this is nothing new and out of the ordinary. But there's a reason for that, is because art imitates life. Yeah. Guess what's all out in life? Nothing but bullshit that should have been addressed decades and decades ago, but people just decided not to address it. Yeah. So now here you are. Now you have this is the consequence of not giving a fuck. Is being apathetic only gets you either it forces you to address the reasons why you're or the things that you're apathetic to, because if they're meaningful and impactful things, they're going to get to you whether you keep running or not. You can't. They're like a Jason Voorhees or a Michael Myers. You can run all you want. It's going to find you, and you're going to have to address it.
Good Halloween tie-in. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well said. I'm left at shaking my head on it. Really, that's all I can really do on. But I mean, you covered it and hit a lot of good points, and it's well said.
If that's what the impact of millennials is for future generations, then fuck yeah.
Well, we're trying, that's for sure.
Like if that's all we're going to amount to is a correction of all of the bullshit that has happened in the past that has disrespected people being, individuals figuring out their place in the world and things, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think, not to get super granular on the topic of that, but every generation has that moment where they're like, I'm going to correct everything. But then most generations are able to settle down, have a family, and their priorities become less, selfless and more selfish. You stop focusing on your neighbor and start focusing on your house.
Yeah.
Well, I can't afford in a house. I don't have a family. It is irresponsible for me to have a child right now. Like for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
On a micro scale, I can't afford. I can afford the thing I have, and that's because I'm living at home and I'm paying a very reduced rent to my mom. And I have paid off my car because I bought a car cheap, and I was able to get a deal. I was able to have these. I was lucky to have these things, and I'm still not good. I still can't buy. I still don't own a home. I'm nowhere near comfortable having a child. And then the world is fucked up. Can you imagine bringing a child into this world right now? Is not. It's not attractive to me, at least.
Well, and I mean to just piggyback on what you said. I mean, and you took a hobby of yours and you monetized the hobby, which is something that our generation does so well. It's a hobby, and all of a sudden, well, I can sell you this service too. It's like, I mean, my hobby is video games and photography. Look, I'm a photographer that does weddings and shit, and I sell stock photography, and I'm a Twitch streamer. That happens to how many people in our age range?
Oh yeah.
So ready for a complete left turn?
No.
Speaking of escapism and horseshit things that companies do, there's another version of Skyrim coming out again.
Yes! Yes! I'm so excited. Can't fucking wait. I own 17 variations of Skyrim. I also
You're the
own
reason!
An equal amount of Skyrim-themed underwear that came specially with the box editions of each individual thing. I own every generational piece of Skyrim, and it's an incredible thing. I got the Xbox 360, the PS3. I got a PC. I got the PC Special. I got the PC Remastered, PS4, Xbox One, the Nintendo Wii version, the Nintendo Wii U version, the Nintendo Switch version, Xbox One X, PlayStation 5. I got the fucking Ouya version of Skyrim. All right, the little cubey baby. I got that. The Ouya. That's me. I'm over here.
You're that person. I see.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna buy the NFT edition. That's right. Thank you, Square, with the assist there. So one NFT. No, I'm kidding. I do not own that many copies.
To celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Skyrim, they are releasing a board game version of the game.
So I was terrified for a few minutes there until that moment where tabletop?
Yeah. Yep. The adventure board game announced releasing next summer. Yep. So if you enjoyed Skyrim, you can get a board game version of the game now. So you can play tabletop.
Are we talking like full, like, I want a book. I want a full tabletop RPG of Skyrim. See, that would appeal to me like no one's business.
So it reads that the Skyrim 5, the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, the adventure game, is a board game that is created by Modipus Entertainment as a tabletop RPG that features 12 hours of story content. At the 12-hour tabletop, that's a small campaign. That's a few sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it is. It's expected to be next summer, and the prices on here, they're talking anywhere from $92 to $300, but we'll see what it actually looks like when it comes out. I'm guessing that $92 price point is probably a little bit more realistic. But
I mean, it's definitely more realistic for me.
I say that as a person that has a Fantasy Flight game that was $30 that I'm trying to find it now. It's $150.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what level of quality that they put into it. I mean, it sounds like that could be something where you could have like a 3D map going on.
I just got a text message from Crafty. All it says, take an arrow to the knee, lose one turn.
Oh, God!
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I'll say this. If I can get a Jumanji game with Skyrim as the basis, and that means I'm all in. I'm 100% in on this.
Mm-hmm.
If I get, like I roll a 6, right, and I land, and it's like, oh, some rhyme about a frost troll picking my bone, using my bones as its teeth, or using my bones as a pick for its teeth. I'm 100% in. That is, I did not think that was a way I could go out. But it's definitely the top of my list now. Is being ripped apart by a frost troll and helping its dental hygiene. So
look, no one's gonna kink shame you around here, I guess. So
it's not a kink. I would just like to. It's not. There's no sexual release. It's just a release from a mortal coil.
Yeah, I mean. And not to mention, it must be terrible to try to find a dentist as a frost giant. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah.
Like, can you imagine the size of the office you would need for that?
Ooh.
And the chair?
You'd have to have like a cathedral just for a single one,
Yeah, and like dentist chairs already, it's like you go to your dentist and that chair that they probably had it for like 30 years in that location, and it hasn't changed at all. Somehow it's amazing that it still exists in its form. You could have like these ancient structures that are literally just for frost giants to sit on and have their teeth checked.
You know what? This is making me buy at least 7 more editions of this fucking game. I'm in anything to fund this like alternate reality where Skyrim is actually real. I'm all for. And yeah, also a alternative to the frost troll thing. I would 100% be down for like rolling a 3 and then ending up with like the ability to scale mountains by just jumping. Like, I'm all for it. No, yeah. Well, are we using a D20? Because that's like it. From the sounds of it, it feels like a Jumanji game.
It might be
like,
more of a Jumanji game. It says it's an RPG, so I'm not entirely sure, which is why I went ahead and grabbed the D20, which I just did roll the nat 20. That was me literally tossing the D20 and getting a nat. So
like I'm looking at the picture. I'm looking. It's not letting me. Man, this Zoom is not. Man, these website
Zoom,
developers need to let me hack their shit better. This is some bullshit. Okay, here we go. It looks like a Jumanji game. Like it looks like let's see here. There's 3 6-sided dice, but there's multiple 4-sided die. It looks like no Monopoly money. No, never mind. I was gonna be excited about just throwing somebody in jail for not paying rent on their hearth home. Yeah, no.
I love paintable figurines. I'm here for that.
They got them too. Yeah, it might be more D&D tabletop. It looks board gamey. That's why I was like,
I thought it looked more board gamey too, kind of based on what the images said and what the article talked about being the adventure game. But I suppose
lavishly detailed plastic miniature.
Mm-hmm.
Nord, okay. Dunmer, Imperial, Altmer, Khajiit, and Orsamir. All right, so you got everything. You can equip weapons, spells, armor, more, travel to iconic Skyrim locations. Yeah. So it's two narrative-driven campaigns, and each is 3 chapters long. So it's
okay.
Maybe pandemic-y?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. I mean, if that's the case, that could be interesting.
Here's my thing. I would 100% get just the board and play Risk on it.
Yes.
Like
there you
that's
go.
what. Like that is the game I want. I want like the military simulator of like Skyrim and being able to. I mean, we got it for Halo. Why can't I get it for Skyrim? Bethesda. I'm here for some ideas. All right, and I'm very cheap. I'm very extremely cheap.
There we go.
I wouldn't say cheap. I would say
cost
value
efficient.
Conscious.
Yes.
I would say cheap. I am cheap as fuck. I like a fraction of my yearly salary for some of these ideas that will make you bajillions of dollars. You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, I think with that, we hit all our topics, gentlemen. We hit all our topics.
Well, dang.
So, before we go, this is our last chance to go around the table and shill our content coming up, and we will go ahead and get out of here and say hi to another streamer after we wrap up. That said, let's go ahead and start again with our special guest this evening, Mr. TGrumm. Grum, what do you got coming up on your channel? Where can we find you and all the other good stuff?
Oh, baby, here we go. Well, for the last couple months, I've been very upset with Twitch, and this is the final 2 months I will be a Twitch affiliate. At the end of the year, I'm offboarding, so if you want to come see my content on Twitch, come through the next 8 weeks or so. Next month is my annual holiday celebration month of streams, 23 days of Grummas. Every day there is a different activity, not all streaming. I can't stream 23 days in a row. I don't have that kind of cholesterol, but do have some, movie nights. We do some caroling things where we'll go to different content creators and spread some holiday cheer, make them feel good. We basically throw money at them so that they feel good and they feel very happy. And also, play the dopamine game of Twitch of like, oh, hey, let me gift like 3 subs here, wait a little bit, through another 3, and then people will start doing it, and then you get a hype train going, and that's all good. But that's next month. I am in place of it. I am going to a more personable Discord community-based streaming strategy. I would probably say that going through my Patreon as to monetize my content. But you can find most of my main content is Dorkside of the Ring. There's a podcast that is not about wrestling, also about wrestling, requires zero knowledge about wrestling, but it is we watch. I get 2 of my friends. We watch something. We make fun of it. We talk about it. We talk about things adjacent to it, such as this following Monday, the 5th or the 8th of November. Miss Michelle Jean and Cariz are my 2 guests. We talk about the Kiss Demon and just as a concept and a wrestling match and a lot of good talk. I wish I had the notes on me of what we actually talk about, but there is a challenge that is laid down by Cariz that Miss Michelle Jean is going to promises to take, so we might have a champion soon.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. You can also find my content if you go to grumm.tv. That'll take you to my Twitch, but that'll get redirected soon to a more link tree type thing. I'm on YouTube as well, TGrumm. That's where a lot of the VODs of the streams will go, as well as other YouTube exclusive type shit. If you want to check out more about my Patreon and whatnot, you go to support.grumm.tv. You can join .grumm.tv to join the Discord where all that fun stuff is. But yeah, I'm still on Twitch right now for the next 2 months for 2021. So 8 weeks left. I stream throughout the week at some various points. I try to do almost every Wednesday for Tilly.tv, which is our me and Michelle's shared community, roleplay community troop, I would say, of Grand Theft Auto roleplay. It is basically all the good parts of Grand Theft Auto roleplay without the nonsense. So if you like no
our
pixel
special
stuff,
type.
you'll love our
Hold
shit.
on, is our own special type of nonsense. Let's be honest here.
Correct. Okay, yeah, it is the outside of nonsense that is not fun.
Yes.
But yes, no. We could do. Let's see. What else do I have to plug? What do I have coming up? Miss Michelle Jean Cariz on next week. I wanted to plug that. Plug the Patreon. Plug the Discord. Plug the Twitch, YouTube. Oh, the podcast. Let me just do it one more time since that's the main thing. Dorkside of the Ring podcast. We're on Twitter at Dorkside Ring. Also on Instagram at Dorkside Ring. That's DORKSIDERING. You can find me on Twitter at IamGrumm. That's IAMGRUMM. Also on Twitter or on Instagram, same handle. Boy, I think that's everything. Did I miss anything?
I think you got it all. I was actually just looking for the anchor link quick, and I think I just found it.
If you do dorkside.grumm.tv, that'll take you straight to the anchor page for that. So it'll take you then to your preferred platform.
There we go. And I just dropped the anchor link, so it's anchor.fm/dorkside of the ring. Grumm, thank you for joining us for tonight's episode. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy I got to do a bit where I'm very happy. That like Diz, great setup. You didn't intend on it, but I absolutely took it as a setup to talk about how I can feel comfortable playing. I think my favorite bit that I did was the Soldier 76 bit, the reassurance that I can play him without people thinking that I want a thick dick in my mouth. Also, you said there was something that was funny about that, and I bit my tongue so hard because I'm like, what's so funny about having a thick dick in your mouth, huh, Michelle, huh? But it didn't work anymore. But I'm sure that's like one of those outtakes of like, hey, this is what the script could have said if I was.
No, we just isolate the sound now. So
yeah, there you go.
It's fair now.
Look, I said enough times so that you can put this because I know, being aware of who I'm here with. I'm gonna end up on Michelle's soundboard saying,
"Yep,"
saying, "thick dick in my mouth." Yeah, I gave you another take on it.
It'll be there. I'll be
just in case it wasn't perfectly clean.
You know what?
That's professional. That's professional.
A couple more, like, a thick dick in my mouth. Like, is that one? Is that a good one? Or there's also, go ahead, hit the button. There's also, a thick dick in my mouth. Shit like that. Yeah, there you go. There's also, a thick dick in my mouth.
There we go.
There it is. Yeah, instantaneous.
Oh goodness. DJWheat, what do you got coming up on your channel? Where can we find you?
I mean, I don't know how I could top any of that. But then again, people have said different things about topping for me. Anyway, so in interest of that, you can find me at as DJWheat pretty much everywhere. I can guarantee you that nobody will make Game on Netflix, so you'll find me there for a very, very long time. As of late, we will be playing some Storybook Brawl, seeing if we can actually get ourselves into that super elite group of people who are ranked above 4,000. It might be possible. It's probably not possible for me, but I encourage you to distract me with all of the conversation that will make me not think about the game, because that's more fun anyways.
Okay. And that's, let's see. I actually have a command for you for that. For you, it's just a simple boom. Also, just a there you go.
I do also just want to add in about a month there will be a charity stream that I will be partnering up with Boston Gamers with. I'm not sure exactly the charity. We're working on the last details of that, but that is officially let's see, December 3rd and 4th.
Okay.
So that's going to be an absolutely wonderful time, and we'll play a lot of different things. If you do want me to eat ketchup, which I will remind you again is an abomination that nobody should consume, especially not me, look for a good opportunity to torture me, basically.
There you go. All right. And as
what about you, Michelle? Where the people can find you? What about you?
As for me, if you're already here watching live, you already found me. It is twitch.tv/MissMichelleG and 1L in Michelle. If you want to find me otherwise, it's MichelleGean.tv. That will take you straight to the Twitch channel. If you are listening to this as a recording, that means you either found it on YouTube or you found it through the Anchor as well. For the Newbcast, it's anchor.fm/Newbcast. And that is where you can find us there. It plays the podcast on all the popular platforms. As far as myself, it's Miss Michelle Jean on Twitter. It's that on Instagram. It's that on TikTok. You're already here. And it's Michelle Jean RP if you want to watch the RP content that includes stuff like Tilly, the sister server, the crew RP, and occasional D&D stuff or whatever other like RP campaigns we have going on. And that's where you can find me. That said, for TGrumm and for DJWheat, my name is Miss Michelle Jean. This has been the Newbcast podcast. Thank you so very much for watching. Have yourself a wonderful night.